What's up, everybody? This is HBT, Harry Bernard Taylor with the Straight Up Wrestling, and I'm here to do a show, man. And we're going to talk about the realities of wrestling today and the state of the wrestling fan. So, hey, man, stay tuned. Check it out. I'm running this thing solo tonight. Christopher Burton is with me. He never called me back or whatever, but if Christopher Burton is checking us out, he gets to see it. He can chime in on the comments with everybody else. But man, right now we about to run this thing down and talk about the realities of wrestling today and the wrestling fan. And man, there's a lot of things going on in wrestling today. We all know plenty of things going on, man. Especially with this eventual sale of the WWE. People are seeing if this thing sold or not. So there's a lot of speculation on that. I mean, we had a report yesterday, huge report for the last couple of days, that the WWE was sold to Saudi Arabia, where they were setting it up, and then it was eventually sold to them yesterday, but it wasn't sold to them. So, everybody panicked. A lot of podcasts got out, did a couple podcasts on this thing ourselves about them selling it to Saudi Arabia. I would if they had sold it or not, but my head of the story and see if they had sold it and went ahead and talked about it. Yeah, so they're out there, and we have certain suitors. We got certain people out there who wants to buy it. You have NBC Peacock in play. You have Fox in play. You also got Disney in play, and you better believe Saudi Arabia is still a player to buy WWE. But a new name has emerged, which is not a new name anyway, because the people would have been thinking that he will buy it either way it go. But Tony Khan, people are talking about Tony Khan buying the WWE, and somebody was talking to me about that earlier today, and they was wanting me and Chris to go on and talk about that. But Chris was at work, and I really didn't want to go in there and talk about that because the bottom line is this. I mean, of course, I don't think Tony Khan, even though if Tony Khan wants to buy it, I mean, Shahid Khan, he is the one who has the money. Tony Khan doesn't have the money himself to buy it. Shahid Khan has the money to buy it, but Shahid Khan's Jacksonville Jaguars, is in the playoffs, and I'm pretty sure his mind and his business savvy, everything is focused on that. He's focused on what the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to do. I don't think he's worried about anything to do with a wrestling company when his son is already running one that he's involved in. So I don't think he has anything. Any interest in trying to buy another wrestling company. Plus, I looked at his situation, how much he's actually worth. He's worth between $8 and $12 billion. Tony Khan is worth $1 billion. So combined, man, at the most they own at the most they are worth $13 billion. And you have the WWE out here that's on the market between $5 and $6 billion, and could be upwards up to $7 or $8 billion. So when it boils down to it, even if it's $6 billion and say Tony Khan has $12 billion or $13 billion, and if it's up to $6 billion, that's almost half his wealth. Why in the world would he take half his wealth and buy a wrestling company when the son already owns a wrestling company, or when using his money already owns a wrestling company, and that wrestling company is mediocre at best right now? It's been 3 years; they haven't made a profit. They have not made a profit yet. And Tony Khan was saying late last year, that he was close to breaking even. So why in the world would he go and try to run a conglomerate like the WWE, which is way bigger than what AEW is right now? I mean, it'd be kind of ridiculous, to tell you the truth, straight up. I mean, ridiculous, because nobody is going to be able to run a company like Vince McMahon, or people that's been involved with the company for years. So that's pretty much out. Tony Khan is not going to do that. So it's probably going to be a big conglomerate of people with a lot of money that's going to come in and buy it. And what we're looking at, man, this right here, if Vince McMahon don't, Vince McMahon is 78 years old, and I don't know how long he will run it, or if they would use him as an advisor or have him running that company. But as soon as they eliminate him from the company, what you have business people that are TV people, or people that's in, business people in that corporation, and they want to come in and they're gonna want to run it the way they want to run it. That's just how it is. That's how it boils down to it. I mean, it's kind of like the Time Warner WCW days. Time Warner went and bought it. Ted Turner didn't want, when Jim Crockett, had lost all that money, and he looked like he had nowhere to go. Ted Turner went ahead and bought it because that was the number one show. That wrestling program for years was the number one program on WTBS, the Superstation. It was number one. That's something I didn't realize to the day. I knew it was huge, but it was the number one program. It was the number one watch thing on WTBS. And then he sold it over to WTBS Superstation, and those people at Time Warner, they started running it. They started running the company, and Jim Crockett was they kept him on for like a year. Then they basically got rid of him because Jim Crockett was like, "What in the world are y'all doing?" Because Jim Crockett was just in there as a voice, and those TV people decided they're gonna do what they wanted to do. So they went out and started hiring people. Hired a pizza man and everything else, man, to try to run this thing until of course, Eric Bischoff fell into place, and then and all these TV executives and these people coming there didn't really know anything about wrestling. You know, within the first year they lost 25% of their audience on TV, and then the TV and the live gates just went to crap, man. They lost 2,000-3,000 people at every one of the venues that held over 10,000 people. They lost 2,000 to 3,000 people within the first year at every venue. So they didn't know what they was doing. So you pretty much when you get those type of people, even though they might hire people that's from within wrestling, and then they come in and those people try to tell them what to do. These people, man, they hey, a lot of times, man, you go into business, and sometimes the people that's been in that business, or that owns Disney, that owns Fox, or whatever, gonna say, we're not gonna let these people tell us what to do. We're gonna run it like we always ran it, and they're gonna run that thing like they've been running Disney or Fox or NBC Peacock, and they're gonna try to run it in the wrestling business, and it's gonna run it down, man. So right now we're looking possibly at the death of professional wrestling at this level. So I mean, it's kind of like when I went to work for Walmart. When Walmart went into, which I was a grocery manager in the groceries and everything. I went and started working for Walmart. They came and got me from not Winn-Dixie, from Publix. They came and got me and asked me to come and run the grocery side of their business when they opened up their store on this huge on this road called Woodruff Road in Greenville, South Carolina. And I went over there and opened up their first super center in the upstate of South Carolina. Went over there, opened that thing up, and quickly I found out that those people didn't know what in the world they was doing as far as in grocery, and they didn't care. And they told me that flat out. We just want to get people in to buy extra pair of shoes, extra pair of shirts, and everything. And what was a trip about it, they was paying people more to work groceries than they was paying those people working general merchandising over on the other side, because they knew. They said putting up 48 cans of doggone green beans is harder than throwing up one microwave on a shelf, or putting up 24 cans of tuna is gonna be harder than putting up some t-shirts. They knew that. It's harder to work grocery than it is that other part. But those people they rebelled. Those people who've been working for Walmart for years on that GM side, they rebelled and said, we want to get paid the same amount of money. They didn't care that those people over there was doing that. And they was all threatening to quit. They said, we've been working for Walmart for years. They wanted to shut all that stuff down. This was when Walmart first got into the grocery business, and I was a grocery manager with them. So Walmart went ahead and went to the whims of those people, and basically they never have. They still, to this day, I know people with them. Walmart still to this day will tell you. They have told me, and man, last when I worked with them, it was 500 super centers when I left. 500 super centers. They said we haven't made a dime in grocery yet. And I talked to my friends now that still work for Walmart now. They said we still not making a dime in grocery, but that markup on those shirts and those shoes and things, everything they got, it covers everything that they do in grocery. And they are in the business to put people out of business. in grocery because they want those people to come in there and just buy a shirt and pair of shoes and buy a lawnmower, a rake, or whatever. So that's what Walmart is in the grocery business for. Now they went into these neighborhood markets and started doing these grocery stores alone, and they slowed that thing down because they're not making money in it. They don't know how to run that business. But they use the other capital that they're making from their other retail stores to cover that. So, man, we're looking at a situation like this. We are looking at a situation of people coming in, owning this wrestling company because they're eventually going to sell. That is not going to know what they're doing. But the advantage of the Saudis taking over, the Saudis are going to hire people, man, that's over here that know about wrestling, or they're going to keep the man's family in the place, and they're going to and people that's been working for the company. But Americans, American companies, Disney and people like that, they're going to run it the way they think it should be run. Hey, it could be ran in the ground. My man, Ray Underwood. Exactly, Harry. How you doing, brother? Pretty good, Ray. Glad that you joined us, man. Glad that you joined us. But, I'm just basically going to talk about some other things. I'm not going to talk only about that, but I did want to go ahead and get that out of the way because people was asking me about it today, and they was asking me about Tony Khan coming in there, Tony and maybe Nick buying this thing, man. But the reality is they're not going to touch. They're not going to touch that because Nick Khan will be basically putting up 50 to 70% of his wealth to buy this doggone wrestling company, and his son already, Nick, it's Nick. Let's be real. It's Nick who owns this thing. Nick Shahid. I mean, not Nick, but not Nick who owns it. It's Shahid Khan. Nick Khan is the Khan that works for WWE, which is supposedly no relation as far as I know of. But yeah, Shahid Khan, he will have to put up, more than half of his wealth to buy this company, man. I don't see that thing happening. No way. And some people say, oh, he would get partners and things like that. I have no clue because I mean, Shahid really don't have partners in his other business. He's a private owner, and and he has other kids too. So why in the world would he do this? So I just don't think that's gonna happen. But man, when I talk about the realities of wrestling today and the state of the wrestling fan, which basically I'm gonna tell you about how wrestling got to the point that it is today, because I saw something else on MLW, and I talked to Chris earlier today. MLW, they want to sue. Well, they got a lawsuit out against the WWE. And what's funny about that, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into that because I had that way down the list of what I want to talk about. What's funny about this MLW lawsuit is these guys, man, they are coming out the WWE because they put out a antitrust. They got an antitrust lawsuit going against the WWE because they're saying the WWE is trying to monopolize wrestling. Oh, so hey, like we haven't known that for the last 20 years, 21 years that the WWE is running a monopoly. But when it boils down to it, they are not. So I see what they're trying to do. This thing with the United States, with our government and everything, they stop people from running monopolies. One of the most famous cases, the most famous case, is Bill Self when Bill Self tried to go all over the country and rule the entire phone market. So communications market from the phones from the phone standpoint, which was the communication hub. They went out to own everything, and Bill Self now is AT&T. So they stopped that. The United States government had to come in and stop that monopoly, and they've come in and they've stopped other monopolies from happening, like Budweiser and Kellogg cereal and things like that. They had to stop monopolies. So MLW is trying to do that. But MLW have put up basically it's a frivolous lawsuit, and hopefully it gets thrown out, and it probably will. But what they're hoping is the WWE is gonna have to spend tens of millions of dollars before this thing get all solved to hurt WWE, which is flat out crazy. I'm not a huge fan of the WWE or Vince McMahon. Never have been. I used to couldn't stand Vince McMahon and blamed him for everything in wrestling. All the stuff that's going on in wrestling, but you pretty much can't blame him for everything that went on. There's a lot of other different factors. But MLW, man, have come in and said that the WWE, okay, trying to run a monopoly. I can understand what they're saying there, but MLW, they want the fouls. They are suing They want the files from WWE of how they evaluate wrestlers, how they scout wrestlers. They want the files on train wrestlers. They want the files on their salaries that they give wrestlers. So they want all this stuff. They want their property. They want to see how they get their property rights and everything. So basically, they want to see how the infrastructure is ran in not WCW and WWE. They want to sue and get the documents of the way things are run over there, which is flat out crazy, and they're not going to get that. So they're basically saying, turn over all this stuff because y'all are using this against us to keep us down. So basically, that's what MLW is doing, which is flat out dumb, man. My whole thing is this: MLW, if you want to be real, if you want to hurt the WWE, all I'm saying is this: go out and get your own. Go out and get your own. Do not be trying to doggone break somebody down and take from something that you didn't build. MLW has a chance just like every other wrestling company out there that starts a wrestling company. You have a chance to doggone build your own name, to build your own product. Go out there and do it. Like I said, man, hey, I'm not a huge fan of Vince McMahon, but hey, this is his thing. He built it. So MLW, that's all I got to say, man. Just do your own thing. And man, and as far as wrestling, the realities of wrestling today, man, look, the death of the territories, the death of the territories wasn't a good thing, not at all. And you had you had a huge territory which expanded, and it expanded globally. First, it expanded all over the nation. Then it expanded globally, and you had a lot of people start following this. You had more than half of the country, because the bigger side of the country was the people up north, and then you had the other side of the country. They followed WCW, and then you had a switch in between both. You had some people from the South and some people from the North. Some people from the South followed WWE. Some people from the North followed WCW, but a small percentage. But you had that split. But WWE had the main split, and they was up there in the mecca, the mecca of that business hub. They had that engine, they had that media, they had all that media behind them. It's because New York is the mecca of media. So of course they was able to do what they was able to do. But man, when it boils down to this, what actually happened? Okay, in the late 80s, early 90s, man, WWE running things, and WCW started actually pulling. WCW really wasn't pulling into what they was doing, but WCW was still there, and they was on the Superstation, and they still made inroads, even though they didn't have Crockett anymore, and they had different people running this thing. They still was there, and they had a lot of superstars, and that's what kept them going, man. It was the superstars of that organization. Even when they was down and they wasn't doing as well, I continued to watch WCW, man, because even though they didn't have Ric Flair no more, because Flair had went up to WWE, they still had Sting, they still had Lex Luger, they still had Barry Windham, they still had, man, they still had so many superstars. They still had Ronnie Garvin. They had Big Van Vader. So they had so many superstars, man, still in that company. So I stayed in tune with it. And that was my company, man. That was, I loved it, and I kept watching it. And, basically they was trying to be a TV show or whatever. They tried to change things, but it still was mainly wrestling. And I would look at WWE every now and then. Really couldn't stand it. I never really could stand their style of wrestling. But then comes Eric Bischoff taking over this thing around 94. You start seeing the changes. I liked what I was seeing, what he was doing. He was out there, man, fresh face, talking, and, a lot of things was going on with him, a lot of positive things. And Eric Bischoff at that time, man, he was running, he had Ric Flair, Ric Flair booking at one time. He had Kevin Sullivan, Jim Cornette. He had all these people, man, that was working for him, and before Cornette had went off, he still had, like you say, he had a good booking team. And, they was still putting together good matches and things like that, but they wasn't really drawing outside of, they really wasn't drawing a whole bunch of money everywhere they went, but they ended up turning a profit. And then, a couple years later, next thing you know, Eric Bischoff, he's in a position, he's president, and Eric Bischoff was able to, he was smart enough to go to Ted Turner, which none of these other guys, Bill Watts, Jim Barnett, Jim Hurd, any of these guys, none of these guys were smart enough to go to Ted Turner to tell him exactly what they needed to take over or to battle Vince. But Eric Bischoff, give him credit for it doesn't matter how he got there. He talked to Greg Gagne. Greg Gagne said most of those ideas was him anyway. I do believe that, but I still think Eric Bischoff had the insight to go talk to Ted Turner, because Ted Turner, man, he was ready to open up the pocketbook, and he did. And so Eric Bischoff was able to go in there and battle Ted Turner. Z1, what's up, my man? Appreciate you joining me. But so he went in there and did that. And I tell you what, for that first year, did great. And look, when they first started off, man, I think their first rating was 2.6, 2.6, and I think WWE had like a 2.8. So WWE only beat them by like 200,000 fans or something like that. It was a lot of fans back there watching wrestling at that time. And you remember, wrestling still was on Saturdays and stuff like that too. So you had 17 to 19 million people watching between WCW and WWE every single week. But they barely beat them in the ratings. And WCW was creeping up on, and then it got to the point where it was only 100,000 split between the two, even before they brought the Outsiders in. But they brought the Outsiders in, and boom, that propelled them over WWE, propelled them over. And for 83 weeks, WCW took over with that NWO thing. But that NWO thing, it got on my flipping nerve. It got on my nerve. It got on so many different fans' nerves that had been loyal to WCW, the NWA product, for so many years. Because this guy decided, hey, I'm going to bring in all these people from the WWE, and I'm going to have them beat up the WCW. I'm going to make these guys look foolish. So, and now I'm going to talk about the fan in just a minute, the fans. So me being a wrestling fan ever since I was 4 or 5 years old, I started watching in 71. I was 4 years old, man. So I started watching very early. And, with my older brother and then my aunts and uncles and everything. So I grew up with the style of wrestling. At first, it wasn't a Ric Flair. Ric Flair came in, I first seen him in 72 when I was 5. I grew up with Ric Flair, Black Jack Mulligan, Wahoo McDaniel, and people like that. So, Eric Bischoff started making Ric Flair look like a fool. It pissed me off. I decided, man, I'm not going to watch wrestling no more. But if he just wasn't doing that to Ric Flair, he was doing that to Sting, which I was a huge fan of Sting. He was doing that he did that to Lex Luger. Everybody, man, that was in the WCW, Rick Steiner. First it was Steiner Brothers before Scott Steiner got into the NWO. But he was doing that to all the WCW guys that I had grew up and I started loving. So, man, I was like, hey, I'm just not. My other alternative was to watch WWE, because WWE and WCW had killed all the territories. It was nothing else out there really to watch as far as wrestling go. So if I wasn't going to watch that, I was going to watch WCW. ECW had died, pretty much had morphed into WWE. So now we'll talk about the fans. I was one of those fans. I was salty because of what was happening to my favorite wrestler or my favorite wrestlers. And today's wrestling fan, let me talk about the state of today's wrestling fan. Because last night, man, I'm watching what in the world was it? I watched a little bit of Dynamite. I finished it today. But I watched Dynamite, and and since Chris and I didn't come on last night, I decided to watch a lot of different podcasts. I was going through some of these podcasts, especially some of the most popular ones that I like to watch. And I was looking at the fans' reaction and the way they was acting last night about AEW Dynamite. Oh, it was the greatest thing in the world, man. Mercedes Moné was supposed to show up. So Sasha Banks was supposed to show up. All these people, everybody was thinking Sasha Banks is going to show. Jacoby Peter, what's up, my man? So everybody was thinking Sasha Banks is going to show up. Mercedes Moné, she's going to be there. She's going to be there. And all these people pumped up within that first hour and bragging about how great AEW was doing. And Tony Khan is this and that. And they were just dogging out WWE. Like the last 5 months haven't happened, guys. Like Triple H haven't been running it for the past 5 months. Like the WWE haven't had great shows. These people went back and started saying the WWE is trash. Tony Khan is it. Man, Sasha Banks is coming in tonight. They all pumped up. They all into their emotions. Next thing you know, we get into the women's match. People realize that Sasha Banks is not coming. Within that last 20 minutes, those same people, it all went. And even the podcasters, what happened to this show, man? This is garbage. All those same people went in there talking about, man, this is trash. I should have turned it off an hour ago, man. This is garbage, man. This, what happened with this show, man? Only thing that was good tonight is Adam Cole showed up. That was it. That's what people were saying. They were so mad that Sasha Banks did not show up that these people start reality struck. And that's one thing that we have with today's wrestling fan. Hey, and you know what? I had to look back at myself and say, hey, I was one of them. Today's wrestling fan, this is the problem that we have with wrestling fans today. And this is why wrestling might die. Because what happened is Vince McMahon, that monopoly that he ran, and he got rid of his competition. WCW died, where he bought it and pretty much killed it. And he ran wrestling all those years without competition, except for that little small stint that he had with TNA. He ran it by himself. And any time that Vince McMahon wronged one of these somebody's favorite wrestler, people turned on him. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he's doing that to him. I can't believe that he's doing that to Bret Hart. I can't believe that he's doing that to Mick Foley. Can you believe it? That's what we have. People invest in wrestlers. I was one of them. I was invested in Ric Flair, big time. We are the wrestling fans are a group of people that get so involved and so it's like we're married. We are married. And for the last 21 years, wrestling fans have been married to the WWE, but we have been married to the performers of WWE. And the thing about it, if everybody can't be a superstar or win all the titles, somebody has to fall. Somebody has to fall. And when people and wrestlers that failed or they had to lose, and something happened to them, fans took it personally. And when AEW popped up, they decided, hey, we're going to leave this promotion. Then we're going to start dogging them over there because this is what he has done. They went over there and Tony Khan was all great and everything. Everything was all gravy until Tony Khan ran into that same problem, having too many wrestlers, didn't know how to book them. And then the fans of AEW pissed off. Then next thing you know, Triple H started bringing people back and coming back again. Boom, people switch back over there. And now Vince is coming back. Boom, WWE now is trash. It's garbage. Vince McMahon is ruining everything. I'm sorry, Vince McMahon made so many wrestling fans so happy over the years. It can't go on forever. It can't go on forever. And then when you have wrestling fans, man, you got these wrestling fans today. They all, like I say, you join in. You got certain people that like Roman Reigns. You got certain people like Sheamus. You got certain people like Drew McIntyre. You got certain people, that like, Solo Sikoa. Got certain people like Ricochet and things like that. And when these guys lose, man, or whatever, or they go on a losing streak, people pissed off. Why in the world is he doing that to my favorite wrestler? I can't stand that Joker, man. And they did the same thing with Triple H doing his little run here. Same thing. Jacoby Peter, Adam, I need some muscular cold. Laugh out loud, no doubt about it. I told Chris, man, that dude probably weigh 162 pounds, man. And that's with clothes on. And I'm serious. Jacoby, he probably weigh 162 pounds with clothes on, maybe 165. I don't know. But yeah, that Joker definitely needs some muscle. He definitely haven't been into the gym. He needs to get in the gym. He needs to work out, man, straight up. But you know what? I had to look at myself, man, and say, hey, I was one of those same wrestling fans. But I did have other wrestlers that I liked. When Ric Flair went up to WWE, man, as much as I loved him as a huge fan, I didn't like WWF, which is WWE now. I didn't care for it, so I hardly watched it. I watched it, try to catch the segments. I did do that, but I didn't watch it a lot. So so my loyalty went to Sting. It went to Lex Luger. It went to people, man, Jimmy Garvin and people that was still over there in WCW doing their thing. That's just how it was because that was my spot. And and it's probably because I'm talking about other forms of entertainment, other forms of other sports. In football, we like our favorite football teams. Some people might like the Dallas Cowboys. Some people might like the San Francisco 49ers. Some people might be Steelers fans, Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Some people might like the New York Giants. But the whole thing about it is when the Super Bowl comes, when the playoffs comes and the Super Bowl come, all of us, man, who are wrestling fans, even though we got our other teams, we like only a very few of us stop watching the NFL. Same thing in the NBA. When the NBA playoffs come around, we got our favorite teams, but we go and watch those NBA playoffs. We go and watch that last game of that 7-game series of the NBA Finals. Same thing with baseball. We go and watch that World Series, even though we got our other teams. That's not how it is in wrestling, man. You piss wrestling fans off today, man, they are trying to find an alternative to doggone turn you off. And if they can find that, they definitely gonna do it. And with the advent of, with the creation of social media and YouTube and all this other stuff where they can go online and they can watch NWA Power because they done that, watch Impact and everything, just to get away from that doggone entity, just to get away from the enemy, Vince McMahon, because Vince McMahon done them wrong. He's done them wrong, done their wrestler wrong. I can't stand it. And then you have podcasters and all these people come out there just trash the product. It hasn't really been as bad as it actually was. And let me tell you a story about my man Christopher Burton. Christopher Burton, the People's Podcaster. Christopher Burton, the People's Podcaster. Until about 2 years ago, man, I never heard him say a bad word about anything wrestling. Loved wrestling. Then he got to the point where he hated WWE because he got on a podcast and he became friends with a certain group of people. They hated WWE. They hated WWE. They all went to AEW. And Chris said it opened up his eyes. He started looking at the product, and then he started trashing it. He started trashing Vince. He used to love it. He always went. Like Chris said, we're going to SmackDown. Chris says he gets up early in the morning. He does. He goes out there. He waits for the wrestlers and everything. And it's all day long with him. He doesn't eat. He's that pumped up. But Chris has always been like that about wrestling, man. From on TV all the way down to, the smallest house shows. He's always been like that. But he got to the point where he hated wrestling. And, man, if you go into some of our earlier videos, man, Chris just dogging it out, man. Act like he wanted to come through the screen and jump on me, man. And sometimes we were together doing podcasts. When I was giving praise to WWE. And basically we just talking about AEW. AEW was doing good at that time. But anytime I said, I would watch Raw or whatever, and I say we need to review Raw. And if I said something good about Raw, Chris would just go crazy. I'm like, man, what in the world's going on? I had no clue what was going on till I realized what podcast that he was listening to. And then I went back and I listened to those guys, man. The vitriol that they had for the WWE was unbelievable. And it's because of they had certain wrestlers and they start naming all these wrestlers what Vince did this to this person. Vince did that to that person. Vince did that to, I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. It's flat crazy, man. It is flat crazy. But let me get to some of this stuff, man. Let me get to all right. Yeah, exactly. Jacoby Peter. People don't understand, my man. Yes. Harry. Jim Cornette said he is a fan of Adam Cole since NXT, but dude needs a muscular Booker needs to build up with his muscles. Yeah, I agree. Booker T said if you want to be here, you need to look the part, act the part, and also change your name because it's not Maine or something like that. It's yeah. All right. Event like yeah. So yeah. So you're exactly right, Jacoby Peter. Yeah. Booker T and I seen Jim Cornette. Some of the things that he done had to say about Adam Cole and Booker T. Like I say, you need to look the part, man. Put on some muscle. I don't care if it's 10. It's hard to gain muscle the older you get. But this man can put on 10 pounds of muscle, working out hard. At least put on 10 pounds of muscle and 10 pounds of fat, man. He can gain 20 pounds. His body, he still got 20, 30 pounds of good muscle, body fat that he can put on, and he still won't be chubby. So, man, yeah, this guy has to do it, man. He has to look the part. He is too small. Very tiny, man. Britt Baker bigger than him, just about, basically. It don't make no sense. All right. Like Wheeler Yuta, for example. Yes, exactly. So, at least he get that. If he can get that size, man, he'd be great. But yeah, definitely put on some weight, man, because that's not looking good at all. And I was hoping he'd say, "Hey, man, I'm out for a little while longer. I need to get in the gym. Be honest with us. Tell her I need to get into the gym. I need to get myself back. I need to physically get myself back because he's not there, man. He's just not. All right, man. So yeah, so basically that's all I'm talking about. The wrestling fan, man. The wrestling fan is a stone trip when it boils down to it. And I'm not trying to put down anybody. I mean, we all, I put myself, when I say wrestling fan, I'm talking about us, man. A lot of us are like that. And some of us, who are football fans, who are wrestling fans, who like to watch certain movies. But I tell you what, man, look at here. I'm telling you what, right now, wrestling has, if you look at it into the wrestling audience, wrestling has a certain wrestling fans or a certain group of people. They just are. Even a lot of the wrestlers, man, the new wrestlers have morphed in. They've came from those groups. And the whole thing about it is this, man. I tell you what. If which the movie industry, Hollywood is garbage right now. They don't know how to make good movies. They're not making good TV shows. But if they did, wrestling will be in a worse state than what it is now, because people will have other entertainment to go to. They will have other good TV shows to watch. They will have movies that they want to go to. But it's not a lot of good movies out there. There's not a lot of good TV shows. Not like back when we was growing up. My age group. Not trying to brag about it, but I'm sorry. All the great TV shows, all the great movies, seem like all that stuff has been done before, man. It's all been done. But hey, Hollywood's gonna have to step up the game. But man, wrestling, we got a long way to go. We got a long way to go. And as far as on here on the independent scene, man, what you have on the indies, with these indie territories, you got people, you got cliques. I'm talking about these cliques are being set up by promoters, wrestlers, ring announcers, podcasters, and fans. Don't go over to watch them. Don't go over to watch this or that. Hang with us. And they have certain. You might have 2 or 3 different little small territories, and each one of them draw between 100 and 200 fans, if that, every show. Some of them are lower than 80 fans. And then they go over from their little territory to their little spot to their friend spot, and they drawing 80, 75, or maybe 100 fans. And they get on line, they get up, especially Facebook, and they are the shiznit. They are what people should be going to. And then they put down somebody else who might have been in the business longer than them, but not drawing as good as them no more. It's flat crazy, man. It's flat crazy. You have these people. You got wrestling fans, man. They get into these cliques, and and like I say, they get married to a certain wrestlers, or certain wrestlers. And like I say, don't do those people wrong, man, because wrestling fans, man, we some of the most vicious, man, and most and some of the most revengeful type people that you can find. And the revenge is, hey, I'm gonna stop supporting your product. We don't, wrestling. You don't see football fans doing that, man. You don't see hockey fans doing that. You just don't. Hey, man, I'm gonna stop watching hockey. I can get my hockey puck somewhere else. I can go down to the local rink, man, and watch these guys hit a puck around. You don't see that, but you see it in wrestling, man. Hey, we're gonna stop supporting. All right, guys, let me get Jacoby. Let me not miss you, man. All right, Jacoby Peter says, "Dude, team with Claudio is cool. Yes, both in ring, but don't have a personality. No, he does not, man. Wheeler Yuta comes out. He comes to Greenville. With Chris and I. Into our town. He's best friends with this guy from our hometown, and he comes to a lot of his shows, man. Turbo Pro Wrestling. They do very good. They do about between 400 to 600 fans every show, but they only do like a show probably every 5 or 6 weeks, every couple months, or maybe 1 or 2 every couple months. You'll have a show, and Turbo does a show. They do really well, and Wheeler Yuta usually shows up. He's real good friends with the guy TJ who owns it, and TJ's a wrestler, but they are close. They are really tight. And man, Wheeler, his personality don't show at that show either. He doesn't talk to people. He just sits there and that's just it. And as far as poor Claudio, man, he gets on the mic, he tries to talk and everything like that, and he'll cuss or whatever and try to add to his personality, try to get that spark, but it's just not there. But great wrestler, man. And you ask me, he's the best that they have. As far as you want to put the title on a Superman, somebody that's bigger than life, it's Claudio. So I would love to see him win the title over there, but I don't know how the American audience will really react to him. I know one thing about America. One thing about America, and we do this with our boxers, we do this with our wrestlers, we do this with anything. We want Americans to hold those titles. That's all it is to it. That's America, and always has been, always will be. We want Americans to hold those titles. Hey, boxing went down because America, lost its dominance in boxing. So that's just how it is. And you think about all the foreigners who won a title in WWE, they didn't hold it long. Not many of them held it long because America wants American champions. That's all it is to it. All right. All right, my man Jacoby Peter says, I'm gonna talk about the Wheeler name. It's not Starlight, Harry. No, it's not. Just called it Yuta Yuta. It's more bad. Yeah, Yuta Yuta is more badass, no doubt about it. Jacoby Peter, Vince knows on people door watch, post and cry. Oh, okay. I think I get what you're saying here. Jacoby Peter, I'm sorry for disrespect. Vince like this. Yeah. All right. Jacoby Peter says, yes, Vince can be mean, but bro, if it wasn't for for him, man, I guess we won't have this man. Yeah, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have this man. No doubt about it. All right. Jacoby says, but no, let me disrespect you. That's why I stay from Twitter, bro. And I never like these born journalists, man. I never like Dave, but Dave Meltzer is a legend, though. Yes, he is. No doubt about that, man. No doubt. All right. Rick Joe says, sup, Harry? Man, Jay White is finished with New Japan. Oh, okay. So where is he going? Is he going to go over to WWE? Free agent soon. Also, yeah, Jay White. I think what's the name? Triple H is interested in him. And they might bring him to NXT. I don't know. I have no clue. Now, I know Tony Khan has had some dealings with him, and he's wrestled for Tony Khan, but he has also wrestled extensively, for Impact Pro Wrestling. But this man want to get bigger, and this man want to make a little bit more money, so he might end up in WWE. But WWE, man, look, best bet is sell that thing to the Saudis if they're gonna sell it. So who knows what's gonna happen there? But yeah. So Vince McMahon. Let's talk about Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon have taken this whole deal. He took the whole deal. He took over the wrestling world. He took it over. I mean, it's been his. And I mean, Vince McMahon is so arrogant. Vince McMahon is telling people that he is the founder of WWE. No, he's not. I know that company started around 61 to 62. Their first world champion was Buddy Rogers, and then they went on from there. And then next thing you know, a little bit later on in the 60s, I think it was Buddy Rogers. I forgot who was their second champion. Then it was Bruno Sammartino, and then he went on up into the mid 70s as the champion. So actually, I think Buddy Rogers lost to Bruno Sammartino. And Bruno Sammartino, only time he lost the title, he lost to Ivan Koloff and he lost to Superstar Billy Graham. And he regained his titles. But, man, no, he didn't start it. His dad started that company. But he's out here saying he's the founder. He's got his daughter saying he's the founder. And he's out here telling everybody, hey, wrestling was in, hey, it was in small bars, little small clubs before I got a hold of it. Basically lying. Basically lying. But, that's just that's a persona that he wants to put out here. That's what he wants to put out here. And he's been successful at doing it. But Vince McMahon, man, hey, he's been a snake. He's been a snake, but when it boils down to it, if it wasn't for him, man, wrestling would be dead right now. Think if he just would have just got tired of doing it in 2012. 2014, he just went out, hey, I'm done with this. I don't want to do wrestling no more. And, he could have just dropped it off and say, we're not going to, I'm just going to close the company down. What would we have right now? Would there be anybody in there be able to bring a wrestling organization up to the standards of what WWE is and keep wrestling on the national scene? But right now, man, I'm telling you the truth. Vince McMahon, he has, he created it. He created it as far as how big it got, but he also killed it too. If you look at the numbers today of how many people watching WWE program and wrestling as a whole, AEW on a weekly basis. What else is on TV? On Access TV, you got Impact, you got New Japan, and I think basically that's it. And then you have some other ones that come in in and out, and they're gonna fight TV and everything. But in the United States, it's not even 2% of people watching wrestling on TV today, and on the internet, it's like 2.5 if you had the internet. How many people watching wrestling now? If you add in clips and stuff, it's a lot more. But back in the day, back in the 80s, you had over 20% of the population watching wrestling every week. So every 2 out of 10 people was watching wrestling or some form of wrestling. So, but now not even 2% of the population. So, we got 100 people out there. Not, we got to get about 300 people out there before we get like 2 people that's actually watching wrestling. So it's kind of crazy, man. It really is. But that's the state we in right now. And man, Vince has loomed large over this cult of personality, cult of people. It's not a bad thing. No, we don't worship Vince McMahon. Most of us want to get rid of Vince McMahon, but hey, got to give the man his props when it boils down to it. A lot of us can't stand him. There's times I couldn't stand him and everything like that. But when it boils down to it, he didn't kill professional wrestling. He have not killed it. Professional wrestling, there's wrestling organizations all over the place. Well, little territories, they're not territories. Territories is something totally different. I'll take that back. They are little promoters. They're promoters out here with a little outlaw promotions when it boils down to it. And they starting up little sections in all around the country. I mean, within my little area, man, I could name 14 of them right now. So, right off the top of my head, of people that's running shows, within South Carolina and North Carolina. I can name 14 and on the outskirts of Georgia. So, wrestling is out there. It's healthy. These people are getting a place to work. But the bad thing about it is they're not like the regional promotions back in the day. The territories, the regional promotions. These guys would come together with each other. They would form together with each other. Vince McMahon used to get together with Jim Crockett Sr. Jim Crockett Sr., Vince McMahon Sr. used to get together. Bill Watts would get with them. Mike Graham would get with them out of Florida. Jerry Jarrett out of Tennessee. Those guys will get together and they will help each other. Oh man, we having trouble here. Oh, this wrestler's getting burnt out, so they'll send them to their territory. Well, have them come down here. They come down to the Pacific Islanders with Peter Mavia's group. So they will work with each other. These guys today, they're not gonna do it. They are not gonna do it. I mean, it just flat crazy, man. Yo, give me a minute, and I'm gonna get to my man Jacoby Peter. He's still on here talking, and I got some other people. I think. Let me see. But let me get on here so I don't have to look into that light, man, that I continue to look into. All righty. Oh man, what in the heck is going on with my thing here? Okay, give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Man, what in the heck is going on with my thing here? Yeah, I still got this thing up here, guys. But all right, my man Rick Joe says, "Sup, Harry?" Okay, I already read that. Jay White is finished with New Japan. Yeah, he's free agent. Rick Joe said William Regal is back also. Yeah, William Regal, he's back he's in WCW, right? I mean WWE. WWE, he's in WWE. Rick Joe, he's gonna be the vice president of global recruitment into the global. Okay, cool. Jacoby Peter says Harry Regal is back. Gonna be the vice president of global talent development. Gonna be present on both Raw and SmackDown. Woo, man, that is great. Jacoby Peter, Regal should have not been released. He has a good mind for the business. Yes, he does, Jacoby. I agree there. Jacoby Peter, Harry, you realize this is the talk of all over, and even TV show is talk about this Vince thing. Is Vince still a draw? Man, look, pretty much. I mean, look, when Vince was leaving out, Vince, the stock went up, and when he came back, the stock went up. And that's the thing with MLW. They gonna have to prove. Oh, they're not MLW. Not just MLW have a lawsuit against him. You got some people that was on the board got a lawsuit against Vince McMahon and saying he's detriment to the stockholders and detriment to the company. But when Vince McMahon was going out, the stock went up. When he came back, the stock went up. And the mention of his name made the stock go up. So they gonna have to prove that Vince McMahon is the detriment to the company. But why is the stock going up? Only time the stock went down this week is because of the fake Saudi Arabia sale and everybody panicking over that. It went down a couple points. But that wasn't Vince's fault. So they are going to have a hard time trying to prove that Vince McMahon is not good for that company. The man has made millions for that company, millions and millions. I mean, each quarter, over $300 million. Man, that ain't nothing to scoff at. So he's putting a lot of money in stockholders' pockets. I don't know any stock. I know some stockholders. I know a few of them that's got WWE stock. I haven't known any of them to lose money in stock with WWE in the last few years. None. So that's going to be hard for them to prove. All right. Jacoby Peter says, all right, Jacoby Peter, NXT had the highest ratings. Wow, that's dope. Wow. Yes, it is, man. Wow, that is great to hear, Jacoby. Jacoby Peter, Sean Waltman and Kane going to be on Raw anniversaries, January 30th, 2023. Definitely going to have to check that out. Definitely going to have to do a live on that and be there for that. But yeah, Chris and I, man, we will be back, be live tomorrow. We definitely will be live tomorrow, and we'll be doing something. Hopefully, we do something a little earlier tomorrow, but definitely going to be doing that, man. But yeah. So pretty much don't went over everything, man, except loyalty and hate. You got people that's loyal to WWE. Now you got people that's loyal to AEW. The problem what we have as fans, instead of us coming together, everybody should come together for the good of the product. We got fans over in AEW won't look at WWE anymore. You got fans at WWE won't even take a look over there at AEW's check out their product. And everybody needs help. Everybody needs help for the state of wrestling, for the overall health of wrestling. Everybody needs help. Need all the fans that they can get watching their programs. And especially on this indie scene, man. If there's a wrestling show that's near you, don't let nobody discourage you and keep you from going to that wrestling show. And that's what we have out here, man. We have people saying, don't go here, don't go there. I never seen anything like it, man. I thought we had beef in the rap game when I was growing up, man. I thought we had beef with rappers. And at least we went to each other's shows, man. When each one of us had a new song out, we supported each other. I'm talking about on the local scene. We supported each other. We went and we bought each other's CDs or we did things, man. We told other people about these other guys, man, and they told people about us. So, man, we had our beefs, man, but we was able to work with each other. But these jokers out here today, they're not working with each other, and it trickles all the way up into the majors, man. But it's more on the lower end. These little promotions out here, these little groups, and it's really funny, man. It's really funny. So I don't know. So it bothers me that if Vince McMahon goes down, he doesn't decide to wheel this thing off to Stephanie, to Sean, Linda, if she's still around, or whoever. If he doesn't wheel this thing off, let his family run it, or give it to Triple H and let some people run it that know what they're doing, and he just gives it off to some company and then it crashes down. Because as WWE goes, the wrestling arena goes. And like I said, I don't know where Tony Khan's gonna go from here. If there's no more WWE, it'll give him a reins out here. But can he hold up? Can he hold it up? I don't think so. If that's my personal opinion. I don't think so. I think he will continue to run the way he runs, and I think it'll be I think it'll hurt wrestling. I really do. But my concern is this: these guys on the indie scene. Do we have people on the indie scene that can come up and run professional wrestling and take wrestling to another level and maybe take it higher than it's ever been? I don't think so. Not with the way these guys act. They are too busy trying to be the popular person in their little section of their little neighborhood wrestling group. Trying to be the best. I want to be the best here. I want to be the best there. We're better than those people that's down the street. It's just flat crazy. And then these guys, man, paying these wrestlers $25 to maybe $50, $60 at the most, 70, sometimes $75 the most, telling them if you work for me, you can't go work for that promoter that's working a show maybe 4 miles down the road, but he doesn't have a show for another 2 weeks or another 3 weeks or whatever. You work here, you can't go work for them. And then this certain promoter, he's only working, his he only had one show a month too. So he's telling these guys, man, you can't go and eat there. You're gonna eat here. You can have your nice meal here, eat here, eat your Big Mac here, but don't you go down the street and eat that Whopper from this other guy. That's basically what we have, man. That's basically what we have. It's flat foolishness. These guys can't work on a small scale. They can't take care of the little things, man. They definitely won't be able to take care of the big things. So why in the world should somebody go out there and try to hire these guys and say, come up here and work on the big, work on the big scene? Can you guys work together and give us something great for these wrestling fans? Because it's still going to be a lot of us out here, even if WWE goes down. So Jim Cornette was talking about it on his podcast, man. He talking about it today. When they sell, could we look back at that day of that being the destruction of wrestling, that being the end of professional wrestling? That right there being the mark of the death of professional wrestling. And Jim Cornette and his partner, they both said, yeah, that's what. And Jim Cornette said that's what he's concerned about. He said, but in a couple of years, he hope it happens in a couple of years, because he said he'll be fully retired then. He won't be talking about it or anything. But, that stuff could happen, man. It really could. All right, man. All right. All right. So, my man, Jacoby Peter says, if we get more breaking news tomorrow, I got you, Harry. Agreed. Rick Joe said, agreed, Harry. All right, Rick Joe. Rick Joe said, breaking news. If you was Impact, they are teasing a new authority figure, Harry. Wow. Okay. I've been watching it. I still got a couple more episodes to watch before I'm trying to, so tomorrow I'll be watching probably last two. I've been watching the last 5 weeks. Been trying to get all this stuff in. Been watching it and should have went live tonight, but I was still trying to finish Dynamite NXT. But I should have went live with them tonight, but I didn't want to be. I had those other episodes, so I really want to go and I want to come up and talk about everything. I want to give a whole scale report of what's going on in Impact and what I see in Impact. All right, Rick Joe says watch. Okay, yeah, watch. Okay, all right. So yeah, breaking news. If you was Impact, they are teasing a new authority figure, Harry Watts. Harry, Tony Khan is the one. Is talks in talks also. Okay, Shad Khan want to put money in. Yeah, Shahid Khan. Yeah, he wants to put money in. But Rick Joe, like I said earlier in this podcast, and I told Chris, man, Chris had a conversation today. That's one thing, me and Chris, man, I'm just gonna have to start taking my other phone. My other phone is and just using the record button, and I'm gonna start taking that every time me and Chris talk. I'm just gonna record certain segments and I'm just gonna put them online, man, because me and that guy get on the phone, man, and we talk about wrestling. So many great things that we talk about. But I talked to him about this earlier, and I talked about it on this podcast earlier tonight, that Shahid Khan, man, it will be ridiculous. Shahid Khan is worth between $8 billion and $12 billion. Tony Khan is worth $1 billion. That was his inheritance. He gave Tony Khan his inheritance earlier than, sooner than what, usually rich people, they'll give money to their children, but usually don't give them their full inheritance till late in their life, later in life when they feel they about to, be finished or whatever. But Shahid Khan, he's worth between $8 and $12 billion. So WWE is worth $5.37 million, or is it $6 billion? So let's say he's worth $12 billion, WWE is worth $6 billion. Why would this man use half of his wealth to buy WWE? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he would do that. Now, if he's only worth $8 billion, let's say he's worth $12 billion and the WWE is worth between $8 billion. He will have to spend 70 to 75% of his wealth to buy WWE, and his son already owns a wrestling organization, and his son hasn't broke even yet. His son has lost money for over 3 years. And late last year, he was talking about, late this year, he said, I'm about to break even. He said that this past summer too. He hasn't broke even yet. He's losing money. So Going into the WWE, and we know WWE is already making money and everything, and he's not going to be taking over. He's not going to be taking any debt or anything like that from WWE. He buys it, but man, the debt is a huge company. It's probably more complicated. I'm sure it's more complicated running that than it's running the Jacksonville Jaguars. That infrastructure is huge with WWE. And Tony Khan, man, I'm sorry, Tony Khan, and he doesn't have the people that can do it. Now, Tony Khan, if he goes in there and try to book that thing, which he probably would, and then that's going to lead to AEW. What is he going to do with AEW? He's going to try to run all of it, or he's going to say, "I got the library of AEW and I got WWE." Can he negotiate those TV deals that Vince have negotiated? Can he keep all this stuff going? Now, Shahid Khan, man, I doubt it very seriously. I doubt he's going to put money into that, buying it. If he buys it, he's going to buy it for himself. He's not going to let his son run it. Shahid Khan is a businessman, and Shahid Khan is going to run it the way he sees fit. That is a big operation, man. That is huge. And but I doubt very seriously, Rick, that I could be wrong. I could be wrong that Shahid Khan is getting involved. I could be wrong, man, but most likely not, because Shahid Khan, because Vince McMahon, he's smart enough to know to go with the highest bidder. And right now, you're gonna have bids for that company. You're gonna have Saudi Arabia bidding for it. You're gonna have Disney bidding for it. You're gonna have Fox bidding for it. You're gonna have NBC, Universal, Peacock bidding for that thing. And no telling who else gonna come in and try to make a bid on it. Shahid, they saying Shahid get partners and everything like that. But that's the only way I can see. If he gets the business partners in with him to go out there and make a bid for the company. That's the only way I can see Shahid doing it. But Shahid better definitely have a business plan if he wants to buy that company, straight up. And like Jim Cornette said, he don't see Vince McMahon, they don't have to sell to him. It's kind of like Time Warner. They refuse. Those TV executives, what is his name, man? Eric Bischoff, he wants to blame them and all that for killing wrestling. No, those guys worked for Turner for years, and they like wrestling. Wrestling was on for years with that station. They didn't like Eric Bischoff. They didn't like the way the company, the direction it went into. They didn't like Eric Bischoff. They didn't even want to sell it to Eric Bischoff when he was offering. He had that group. He had I forgot the name of that group that Eric Bischoff had put together, Fusion, and there was another group, Fusion, and I forgot another group. He had put together two groups. Both of them offered over $60 million for WCW back then in 2000 and 2001. Offered $60 million for the company. They turned him down for $2-3 million for Vince McMahon because they did not want to sell to him. $60 million, $57 million, almost $59 million more than I think Fusion or whatever that other company offered him, $62 million at the last minute. And Vince McMahon, all he offered was $3 million. They sold it to Vince. They hated Eric Bischoff that much. They wanted to get rid of him. They wouldn't sell him the company. Vince McMahon could refuse to sell him the company. Now you do have the responsibility, the fiduciary of the the responsibility of making sure your stockholders get the top buck for their the top buck. So that comes into play. But Vince McMahon, he's smart enough to buy all those stockholders out before he sells the company. I wouldn't put it past them to do that. And they got to sell stock because they own Class A shares. Vince McMahon, Linda McMahon, Shane McMahon, and Stephanie McMahon is the only ones who had. Those are the only ones in WWE that owns Class B shares of stock. Triple H don't even have Class B shares of stock, and those Class B shares of stock is stock. They are the only ones that can own the company. Vince can buy everybody else out. He can buy everybody else out. He can recall that stock. Just send them a check. Send them a check. And that happened with me, man. I got sent a check when I left Publix. All my stock, they sent me a check. A huge check for my stock. Boom. I was out of the company. But that's what they do. So Vince can send a check to these people and say, man, hey, we buying up your stock, and we taking the company private. Boom. Sell it off. Make even more money. And then it goes to him and his family. But you better believe that name, Vince McMahon, that name, that he's gonna be there, only one to be handed a check. It's gonna be Vince McMahon. No ands, ands, buts about it. All right, man. Let me get to some more of these comments. Yeah, Jacoby Peter, right, Harry. Appreciate it, Jacoby. Jacoby Peter, how crazy it will be if AEW buy WWE, Harry. Is this karma for Vince? Harry, yeah, that would be crazy, Jacoby Peter. But like I said, man, it's not gonna happen. Jacoby Peter, Tony had AEW and Ring of Honor, and then WWE 2023 is crazy, bro. Yeah, it definitely would be crazy if Tony Khan could pull that off. Not saying it can't happen. Now, if Vince did that, man, Vince would. One of the reasons Vince definitely not going to do it because Vince is not going to say, "Hey, brother, you won. You won." If he sells it, Tony Khan is going to go out here and say he's the victor. The victor. He won it. He won. Vince not going to let that happen. He's definitely not going to let that happen. Too prideful. So Tony and Shahid, man, they can forget it. Tony and Shah Khan, they're not going to be able to buy that company. And like I said, why in the world would he sell to them when they easily can be outbid? I mean, NBC Peacock, man, they can go above what he's worth. They can go above that $12 billion. If NBC Peacock, Fox, or whatever can see more value in WWE and say, "Hey, this thing could be better. We can make it better now," because all these businessmen always thinking that we can make it better, and wrestling definitely could be better than what it is now. It could be better. You just got to have the right person come in there, man, and be able to run that thing and make it better. It can be better. There's no doubt about that. But they got to get somebody in there that convince them that. And they say, okay, it can be better. It's worth more than what they think it is. Let me buy it. But you have people out there right now say, hey, it's not worth $8 billion. When it boils down to it, you buying a wrestling company, man. You just buying the alphabet. You buying the name. You buying the name. What is the worth of that name, WWE? Because you can go out there and you can buy your own ring. You can get your own get your own business license, and you can go ahead and set up your own shows at these arenas and everything like that. And you go out there and try to get your own TV deal. So what are you really buying? That wrestling company, yeah, USA Today. I mean, not USA Today, USA Network, Fox. They don't have to make that same business deal that they made with WWE. They made with Vince McMahon with you. Somebody else is owning the company. No, we don't like that. Yeah, we got a business deal with them, but hey, that contract about to run out. As soon as the contract run out, we're not dealing with you. We dealt with him. We knew him for years. USA, we dealt with him for 40 years, and before that, we dealt with his father for about 4 or 5 years before that. So those people know them. They know the McMahons. So why in the world USA is going to deal with somebody else? Tony Khan, we don't know you. No, Shah Khan, we don't know you. We're not going to deal with you. Fox, no. We don't trust you to run a wrestling company. We're not going to deal with you. Hey, we'll show the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I don't think Fox shows the AFL teams. I think that's CBS. So I don't think it's gonna happen. As far as Tony Khan, Shah Khan, that's a long shot. Now, if he gets desperate, yeah, he'll sell it to him. But I doubt it. Unless, like I say, unless Tony Khan, I mean not Tony Khan, but Shah Khan is willing to give up a lot of his money. And plus, do he have that in liquid assets? Do he have $8 billion in liquid assets? I don't think so. They added in the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's why they listed that. It's worth Jacksonville Jaguars is worth $3.3 billion. They added that into his net worth. So how much do we have in liquid assets? You take 3.3 billion. You take 3 billion away from 12 billion. That's 9 billion. You take 3.3. That's 8.7 billion. Will he take 8.7? Take some of that. Take $5-6 billion out of that 8 billion and hand it over to Vince McMahon? Will he do that? I don't know. So I'm just like, man, hey. And who knows how much? I think that's the only one that is really tied up. I mean, I forgot the other businesses that he owned. But yeah, I think as far as liquid assets, he probably got $8 billion If that, now they say his worth is between $8 and $12 billion. Say if he's just worth $8 billion, you take $3 billion from that. He's only worth $5 billion. He only got $5 billion in liquid assets, a little bit under $5 billion, $4.7 billion. So you take that $4.7 billion. That's not enough to buy it. And then he'll owe $300 million more to Vince McMahon. It's all kind of things that you really have to look at, man. You really do, Jacoby. Woo. Billy Corgan. When you talking about Billy Corgan, man, Jacoby, are you asking if Billy Corgan could buy it? You know, Billy Corgan definitely can't buy it. He's definitely not a player in that. Now, as far as Billy Corgan, as far as wrestling, NWA Power is okay. I think Billy Corgan has done great, and it's good to see him in the business. And I think he's serious about it. But Billy Corgan definitely need to get with people that really know how to run the business. He really do. He need to, I think he need to get with good bookers and things like that, and really come up with a better structure for the business. Now, he done really well, but like Nick Aldis said, he didn't fulfill the promise that he made Harley Race and make it like the old NWA. But as far as what he's done very well. Now he has a talent problem. Same thing with Impact. They got a talent problem. So, but Billy Corgan can make them. If AEW goes down, then I tell you what, not AEW. WWE goes down. You got AEW, Impact, and NWA Power. All three of them become major players. All three of them. You will have an equivalent of WWE, NWA, and AEW, not AWA, Vern Gagne's old association. You will have the old territorial system right there, and they will have a chance to build from there and build it like it used to be. If WWE went down, they will have to. They will have no choice. They will have to, because neither one of them powerful enough to where they can dust off the other one. Neither one of them could do what WWE has done to everybody else. WWE, only person they really couldn't do that to was Jim Crockett and WCW. And when, Jim Crockett was WCW until he let it go. But that was the only ones he really couldn't do that to. But pretty much he loomed large. He was heavily favored over them. He loomed large over them, but they were still known as a huge company. Tony Khan has a huge company in name only as far as money goes. He has a lot of money involved in this thing, but he's definitely not a big company. WWE is way bigger than him. It's a name. It's a name everybody knows. Even though people not watching wrestling, that name is synonymous. It's household. It's a household name, synonymous with everybody. That logo is synonymous with everybody. So, but yeah, this right here could be a huge deal for Tony Khan, for Billy Corgan. And what's the guy's name? I forgot his name over there in Impact. I forgot his name. And it could be in MLW. They could actually come up if they get off this lawsuit. Because, man, this suit that they got going on, this could ruin them. It could ruin MLW. When it boils down to it, thing could backfire on them guys, man. It could backfire. All right. Jacoby Peter says, that's what I'm saying, Harry. Again, this is talk all over the world. Who gonna do this? Who gonna do the possibility? Yes. There's talks about WWE going private and possibly NPG and go back TV 14. Harry, wow, that could happen, man. That could happen. But I tell you what, if the Saudis buy it and it goes private, the TV PG 14 thing is out. I don't think the Saudis are gonna have that, even though it just be basically on this TV. It'll be TV over there too. But man, that whole women's division, things will shake up big time. They probably say these programs playing on our TV, these women are gonna cover up. So man, who knows? All right, my man Travis Richards is in the house. What's up, Chris? OG, how was your birthday? Really good, man. I appreciate it, Travis Richards. What your work cooked for you? What your wife cooked for you? That's what I think you're saying. And what's your favorite cake flavor? My favorite, man. Wow, I have to say strawberry is my favorite cake flavor. Which I usually eat yellow chocolate the most. That's what I mostly eat. mostly what my wife prepares for me. That's what she gave me like a molten like it was a molten fudge chocolate chip cake. It was really good with cream in it. It was really good. So that right there went down with that, and got me some this ice cream, which I haven't broke into yet. It's a special ice cream. I'm about to check that thing out soon. And so actually, I was gonna eat some of that today. I've been eating all these cakes, all this cake and everything. So yeah, my birthday was really great, man. I appreciate that, and it went really well. She cooked some really good food for 2 days on that. Very good. So yeah, birthday was great, man. Travis, I appreciate that, brother. I definitely appreciate that. But guys, man, I just don't know. I mean, wrestling right now, woo! It's just we in unknown territory. We don't know what in the world's gonna go down. We don't know what in the world Vince McMahon's gonna do. So yeah, right now, man, we're in a wait and see approach, and hopefully tomorrow. I mean, these last two shows, man, Monday Night Raw was it was weird, man. It just wasn't as good as it's been, and you know, and maybe that's because that cloud is over everybody. Wrestlers are nervous. You know, people in creative is not putting everything into it, or did Vince have something to do with it? Monday Night Raw, man, we gave it like 3 stars. I think we had 3 stars, and then Friday Night SmackDown looked very Vince McMahonish. It really did. That looked like McMahon all the way. And I hear if they do go private, if Saudis buy it, Saudi Arabia, they definitely want Vince McMahon in creative. They want him running creative, straight up. But Vince can take over that anytime he wants, man. Anytime he wants. Nobody can stop him from doing it. So, but hey, it looked like he's been doing it, man. This last week, it looked like he's been doing it. So, my man Travis Richards, Harry, how you feel about AEW as a whole? I'm at a 3.5 stars, and I'm gonna say I'm at a C plus, Travis, with AEW. I'm at a C plus. No, wait a minute. I'm at a C plus with wrestling as a whole. And I'm talking about WWE, AEW, Impact. I'm at a C plus. I'm at, it's a little bit above average. I think it's doing good. It's a little bit above average. So that's with me and Chris's rating system. I say 3.5 stars. That's a 3.5 stars where wrestling is. AEW, I had it at a C minus for a while. I have it at a C. I got it at 3 stars. It's 3 stars. It's really good. It's doing good. So I think it's good moving forward, especially if AEW, especially if WWE sticks around. Now WWE has to stick around for AEW to stay healthy because they need that competition. They need something to gun for. So AEW, I have it at that 3 stars. It's good. It's decent. It's decent, and they still putting on decent shows. Sometimes they putting on a great show, and we've known them to put on great pay-per-views. The last couple haven't been as good as they were, at the end of 91 up into 92. Those 4, they did like 4 in a row, man. That was 5-star pay-per-views. Outstanding. And they did a 5th one, I think it was like 4 or 4.5 stars. And then after that, it kind of like dropped off a little bit, but very good. But one thing about them, man, when it comes to AEW, they got to get MJF wrestling. I'm sorry. MJF, I know people out here want to say, oh, he can talk, man. Just let him talk. And he's a superstar, man. He don't have to get out there and do these things. And that's what Chris says. That's what my partner, man. That's what the People's Podcasters say. Man, he don't have to do that, Harry. I'm telling you, I'm explaining it to you. No, he has to get out there and wrestle. If this man wants the legacy of Ric Flair, get out there and wrestle. I'm sorry. You don't have to wrestle every week on TV. Give us 2 weeks out of a month, man. Give us 2 weeks out of 5 weeks, man. Give us something. Don't get out there for 3 months and just talk. Since he won his title, he wrestled what, one time? Come on, man. Give us something. Give us something. And I mean, to build up this company the way it needs to be built, the champion is going to have to get out there and defend that title. He's going to have to wrestle. You only as strong as your world champion, man. I know Roman Reigns done cut his schedule way back, but Roman Reigns, he shows up and he does get in there and sometimes put in action. We at least get to see him at least 2 times out there, at least twice every 6 weeks or so. We get to see him wrestle or get in there some kind of action. We need that from MJF. I don't want to just see you just wrestle in pay-per-views, buddy. If I wanted that, I'll go and watch my other favorite sport. I'll go and watch boxing. Man, I'll go watch boxing. and I'll wait to see Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford wrestle box every 4 months or 5 months or whatever. I watch Canelo Alvarez box every 3 months. I watch Tyson Fury box 2 times a year if I want to see that. But we're not used to that with wrestling, man. I want to see you wrestle. Okay, so dude, get in the ring, man. Get in the ring. All right, guys. Let's see. Let me get on. All right, got somebody new here. Wait a minute. I think I've seen him before. Let me see. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to my tablet here on some of these questions, so I won't have to look into that light too much. Answer these questions. Man, I'm looking right into it, my guys. And like I say, I appreciate each and everybody joining, man. And if you on Facebook, hit that like, share, join. Let me turn this thing down. Sorry. All right, you on Facebook, hit that like, share, join. If you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, ding, 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 so you'll know when we're on like times like these. And when you hit that like button, man, people know that we're on. It gets out to more people. You're on Twitch, do the same thing. You on Twitter, man, hit that like, share, tweet, and retweet. And man, I see it look like, man, it look like I'm buffering a little bit, guys. I'm not sure here. Maybe that's just my tablet. But all right, let me get to some more you guys, man. But yeah, my tablet is acting up on me, guys. Give me a second here. All right. All right, my man Travis Richards says, all right, wait a minute. The Coug, man. The Coug. Okay. I see a lot of things here, guys. A lot of things here. All right. Let me go back here. Let me go back. All right. All right. Travis Richards says, Harry, I got to ask you this. Is it okay to eat chocolate cake, but don't eat it too much? Yeah, you're saying it's okay to eat chocolate cake, but don't eat it too much. Yeah, I agree there, man. I try not to eat. I definitely don't eat as much chocolate as I used to. Don't want to get all that sugar. There's a lot of sugar in there. Man, basically blows you up. All right. Travis says, yep, Harry. And Harry, how you feel about Regal back and head to Raw and SD back to back and as vice president of recruitment? Look, man, I'm very happy about Regal being back. I mean, Regal, he fits it. He was just very, very professional over there in AEW, and AEW did not know how to use him. Very much a waste. I hated that. So yeah, Regal, he's definitely in the right place, and his professionalism, it works with WWE, and WWE has done very well as bringing an authority figure out, bringing somebody who looked presidential, or somebody who who's business like. They've done very well in handling that and presenting that. And William Regal, he definitely represents that. He presents it well on TV. So, man, big ups to Vince McMahon, a Triple H. I think it was Triple H who brought him back. I'm sorry. Big ups to him for doing that, and big ups to Vince McMahon, man, for letting this thing go on and leaving it alone and letting William Regal be who he is within the WWE, and let him carry out his duties, man. It's gonna be great. All right. Yeah, and the Coug says, yes, Canelo. Definitely, but the Coug said something a little bit earlier, man. I definitely don't want to miss that. Okay. Lucas Thomas says, sup, Harry, legend. How was your birthday, man? My birthday was very good, Lucas Thomas, man. Like I was saying, I was talking to my man Travis just a minute ago. Had a very good birthday, very nice cake. My wife did a very good cake for me, and got me some ice cream and a couple good meals there. So definitely had a great birthday. And the Coug 97 Straight Up Wrestling Show. You look like an OG wrestling fan. Yes, I am, Coug. So I am I. I go back to the MEMLL Mexico days of the mid 1970s, mid 1980s, U.S. territory days. Cool. We got a lot to talk about, man. Cool. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm definitely, man. I've been watching wrestling since 71. I was 4 years old. 4 years old, I started watching with my brother, man. He used to watch, and I barely understood it. I was watching Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, and they had George and Sandy Scott. Let's see, they had Johnny Valentine. They had the Super Destroyer. They had people like that. They had Ivan Koloff, Jack and Jerry Briscoe, those people. So yeah, back when Bruno Sammartino, Ivan Putski, Chief J Strongbow, and WWF watching those guys, man, on satellite. That big old huge satellite back in the day. AEW, Vern Gagne, and all those guys, man. So yeah, Mad Dog Vachon and Mil Mascaris, from like say, over there in Mexico and all that. So yeah, definitely, man. Checked out a lot of that stuff back in the day. So big time old school fan. So cool. Definitely, man. Chime in and let me know everything that you know about this, man. And every now and then we get to talking about some other stuff, especially movies and stuff like that on here. So you hopefully, man, you come on, you in now. You enjoy what we do over here on the Straight Up Wrestling Show, especially with my man Christopher Burton in here with me. He's not in here with me tonight, but you can check out some of the other things that we've done. And tomorrow, man, we'll be coming on live together. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, Lucas Thomas. Harry, do you think Regal gonna bring back indie wrestling or indie wrestlers? Woo! I think he's gonna try, Lucas, but I'm not sure how much he's gonna get that by with Vince McMahon. Now, Vince McMahon, he wanted to bring in these NIL stars. He wanted these NIL, these college athletes and things like that. Will he decide? Triple H was getting rid of that. Will Vince bring that back and say, no, we're going to do that because I want these young stars. I don't want these indie wrestlers coming in because they are messing up the reputation. They are hard to work with. These guys got bad habits. I don't want them. And what Vince says is going to go. I guarantee you that. So I'm not sure, but I know I'll bet you Williams going to try. Regal is going to try because a lot of these guys haven't worked out. And pretty much, I say WWE has spent their money. They have spent money, man, unnecessarily to these people that's not ready to come in to wrestling and wrestle. We see what's happening with Gabe Stevenson. The man's still not ready. He's still not ready. All right. And also, Lucas Thomas said, also AEW get some guys, some of our guys. I saw the wrestling promotion you be head too. Okay. And then the Coug says, I go back to the days of Mid-South, World Class, Houston, Georgia, Mid-Atlantic, AWA Southwest Championship. Wow, man. Like I said, the Coug, man, I love that, bro. I love that. So you got a lot to talk about, man. You have a lot to talk about. And yeah, I'm going to get into a lot more of that old school stuff, man. So look forward to that because, I definitely love talking old school wrestling. So I will be doing a lot of videos on that and doing some live on that. I love Junkyard Dog. I hated Nick Bockwinkel. Yeah, Junkyard Dog, man. He, especially his younger days when he first started, man, this guy was something special. Nick Bockwinkel, I couldn't stand Nick Bockwinkel, especially the belt he had, the AWA belt. The thing was too big. That thing was huge. Couldn't stand that. Nick Bockwinkel was a good wrestler, though, trained by one of the best, Vern Gagne, who trained a lot of wrestlers, man. You talking about nobody trained more great wrestlers than him. And, the next person I have to say is Stu Hart, probably is the closest to him. And then maybe Fabulous Moolah. But, man, Vern Gagne trained some great wrestlers. You got to put Nick Bockwinkel up there with the top, in that upper echelon of one of the guys that he trained. And Nick Bockwinkel, got to give him his props. One of the greatest grapplers of all time, man. And the Coug 97 says, my childhood heroes in EMLL Mexico were El Santos. That's who I wanted to say when I said Mil Mascaras. I'm about to say El Santos. I couldn't think of it, but like I say, love him, man. Blue Demon and Mil Mascaras, yeah. Mil Mascaras. I like calling Mil Mascaras. I know a lot of people say Mil Mascaras. The three guys of Lucha Libre Mexico. No doubt about that. All right. Lucas Thomas said, Lucas Thomas wanted to give a shout out. He said, sup, cool to you. And the cool gal, Lucas Thomas, hello there. Lucas Thomas said, Junkyard Dog was a badass man. I would like to see Hobbs wear a chain to pay homage to Junkyard. Yeah, that would be something special there, Lucas. No doubt about that. The Coug 97. One thing I would say as far as Powerhouse Hobbs, he probably wouldn't want to do that. He probably wouldn't want to do that. It'd be good if he did that because Junkyard Dog was basically a fan favorite. And Powerhouse Hobbs, right now, he wants to play this big tough guy. He's walking through the hood and everything. So, but Powerhouse Hobbs, I think if he continues to play that role, go with that Book of Hobbs and everything, I think he's going to get very popular. He's going to end up being a fan favorite. And yes, he should pay homage to people like Junkyard Dog, man, and the other great black wrestlers that came before him. I think he, it's not all about black wrestlers, but I'm just saying, he will, Powerhouse Hobbs has a chance to go down as one of the top guys, just like Junkyard Dog, Tony Atlas, Butch Reed, so many more of these top guys, Tiger Conway Jr. and people like that, man. That Tiger Conway that made that really opened up the door for the black professional wrestler, Bobo Brazil, and people like that. I can't forget about them, man. So Rufus R. Freight Train Jones. So yeah, the Coug 97. Love that you respect Lucha Libre Mexico. A lot of streams hate on it. That's true, man. A lot of streams do hate on it. I definitely don't hate on it. Definitely used to watch it. Didn't watch it as much as my man. Now we got Chris and I. We do a lot of indie shows and things like that. We do commentary. We do commentary with a friend of ours, a guy named Danny Paris. He's huge into Lucha Libre wrestling. Used to watch a lot of it. So he definitely, man, will be able to talk even more with you. But yeah, I definitely be able to talk about it too, because I used to watch it, man. I used to watch everything when it boils down to it back in the day. But I definitely used to watch a lot of it back in the day. And I think when I stopped watching a lot of it is when Eric Bischoff, he started bringing a lot of Lucha Libre in. And to me, it's kind of like it was watered down a little bit. Still was good. But Lucha Libre, just watching the shows over there in Mexico was a lot better, watching it as a whole. All right. Lucas Thomas, NWA was my favorite as a kid. Yes, Lucas, no doubt about it. NWA expanded a lot of different territories. I know a lot of younger people just see it as Mid-Atlantic. Jim Crockett, of course, he took over the thing, but NWA was a lot of different territories, so it was a lot more to the NWA than just Jim Crockett Promotions. All right, the Coug 97 says Bobby Heenan was his manager. Yes, he was. Lucas Thomas, wait, Harry, you watch CML Lucha Libre? That's dope. Not now. I don't. I don't now. I used to watch it a good bit. I do see on Apple TV they have a lot of reruns. I just now pulled up my Apple, man. I never mess with it, but I see it on Apple TV. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start watching a lot of it again because I really used to like to watch it a good bit. Lucas Thomas, Heenan was the manager, legendary manager. Harry. Lucas Thomas said, Harry, Jay White is a free agent, done with New Japan, and also all the Bullet Club people is heading to WWE like Finn, AJ, and Carl and Gallows there. Yeah. Is Jay White gonna go to? Is he gonna end up being in WWE? I have no clue, man. He could end up being with Tony Khan again. I don't know. He's worked for him a little bit, but not much. But hopefully, I think he's going to end up in NXT. He's already had talks with Triple H, and he probably will. And as far as the Bullet Club thing, man, I mean that thing is huge. I don't know what in the world's going to go on with that. And AJ, yes, he's going to be. When he heals, he's definitely going to still be with WWE. But Carl, Gallows, man, Anderson and Gallows, I don't know what in the world's going to happen with that. I'm looking for them being on a 3-month term. I just don't know how much farther that's going to expand, but within 6 months, 7 months, I don't expect them to be there. I don't. It's not clicking, man. It's not clicking, but I could be wrong. All right, Lucas Thomas. And also, Harry, do you think Carl Anderson has talked with Triple H about recruitment? Everybody in talks there. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he's probably talking. But, Carl Anderson, man, he's looking to get more money, but I just don't know. He just, I don't see a fit. I really don't. They're in there helping with AJ right now, but Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, man, it just, I just don't know. And still we got to see what Vince thinks of him. Vince have had him there before, but we got to see what Vince is going to come into play. Everybody that we're looking at right now and the people that's coming in, we got to remember Vince is going to come into play, and he's going to come into play hard on this, guys. Very much. All right, man. And the Coug 97, when you get a chance, watch the Mascaras Destroyer Japan match. Mascaras came out and Japanese fans carried him into the ring. Yes, I remember that. That's love and passion for Lucha. Love Japan. I definitely got to check that out. I really didn't see it. I did see that part of it there, but I will check that out. Matches in the 1970s. Yes, I saw that, and I saw the that reaction. I remember having it in a wrestling magazine. I think it was Victory Sports, and I think I have that. I still have that. Have that episode. I have that magazine. I have so many wrestling magazines, man. There's a lot of content I want to go over with guys on that too. Matches in the 1970s. Yes, it was Lucas Thomas. The Coug. All right, Lucas Thomas says, and also Cody was a former Bullet Club member. Laugh out loud, Harry. Yes, he was. Lucas Thomas. Yeah, I see Carl Anderson retire soon and be going to be a coach in NXT. Agreed, Harry. That's what I see. Yeah, that's crazy. That is awesome, man. The cool JYD, Tony Adams, Tyler Conway, Big Cat Ernie Ladd. Big Cat Ernie Ladd, man, I gotta make the argument. Big Cat Ernie Ladd is probably the best, probably the greatest, the best black wrestler, man, black American wrestler that's been that's come through the ranks, come through the NWA, WWF, WWF, WWF. He's probably the greatest black wrestler ever, man. In my opinion, is Big Cat Ernie Ladd. Because everything he was able to do at his size and everything, his intimidation factor, he was like Ernie Cat Ladd, Big Cat Ernie Ladd, man. His intimidation factor was up there with what Brock Lesnar is now. Very intimidating, great on the mic, one of the best guys that definitely don't get the respect that he gets on the microphone. Iceman King Parsons, yes, definitely great, another great. Pistol Pez Watley, man, Shaska Watley, Pistol Pez Watley, Shaska Watley, whatever you want to call him, a great black professional wrestler, man, just great wrestler all together. The OGs, yes, no doubt about it. Jacoby Peter, yeah. Ricky Williams, my man, Ricky Williams in the house. Appreciate you joining us, Ricky Williams. But guys, man, like I say, hey, we're still rolling on here, man. Like I say, and keep those comments coming and everything. I'm gonna stay with you guys for a little while longer. Been on here for an hour, 38 minutes. Ricky Williams said, "Oh my God, Harry Andrade is done with AEW, and FTR is possibly leaving. I'll leave too if I was FTR. I'll be saying sayonara. We don't want to see you. I doggone have a pen and a paper, man. Like I say, sign my name. Give me my last check, buddy. We are out of here. We are done with you. We are through. You don't want to put us on TV. I mean, well, you put us on TV. You put us in singles matches. You put us in singles matches. You hardly put us in tag team matches. And when we are a tag team, you put us in 6-man tag teams, or you put us in 8-man tag teams. So, hey, why in the world should they be in there doing that? And I know they won that Ring of Honor World's Heavyweight Championship, but how many times they get to defend it on TV? They defended it once or twice. They wrestled in the last, in 2022, the last half of 2022, the last 8 months, they only wrestled 4 times as a tag team on TV. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. You got the greatest tag team in the world outside of maybe the Briscoes, in my opinion, FTR, and you don't use them. Man, that's trash booking, man. That's garbage. And shame on Tony Khan. Shame on Tony Khan. Tony Khan, like I say, he's done some good booking, but when he's bad, he's bad. That was bad decision. And I don't know who it is that's held them down, but they pretty much, man, held FTR down. Let me see, Andrade, World Championship material, man. World Championship caliber talent. Wasn't used like that. Held back. One of the top 7 wrestlers over there as far as singles wrestlers. One of the top 7 wrestlers. Him and what's the other guy? Aleister Black. Malachi Black. Those 2 guys should have been in that title picture last year. Ever since they stepped into the arena. Those guys, Miro. But Tony Khan, man, he has failed. He's failed. The failing that the AEW, anything, these guys, getting 800,000 viewers and things like that, dropping down to 800,000. Tony Khan having to say Sasha Banks is going to show up last night to get a boost in his ratings. You doing that to yourself. You got FTR. You have Miro. You have Malachi Black. You have Andrade. You got Bryan Danielson. You got people like that. You don't know how to elevate them. That's on Tony Khan, man. It's on Tony Khan. So I can't blame Andrade for getting the heck out of there. FTR. The sad thing about it is, one thing, Andrade can go, he's over in Lucha, over in Mexico, EMLL, he's doing his thing over there. And yes, he can make a lot of money in Mexico, but I'm pretty sure he likes doing his thing on American soil. Man, this man should have been no ends, ands, or buts about it. One of the top guys over in AEW. Top guys. And FTR, man, definitely didn't get their respect. So man, can't blame neither one of them for getting out of there. Definitely right. All right. The Coog 97 says, damn, I love talking pro wrestling history. The Coog, man, we are going to do some serious stuff about this. You know, like I say, man, you definitely going to have to join, and definitely, man, just hit that notification bell when we coming on, man. And like I say, well, I'm going to put out certain things. I'm going to put some dates up when I'm going to talk about number wrestling history. So we definitely will be talking about that. Ricky Williams, Andrade said on Twitter, I got nothing to say with cryptic tweets. Woo! Ricky Williams, Harry, how you feel about the MVP and Lashley tease backstage? Love it, man. Love it. And Bobby should pop MVP in the mouth. But look, I want these guys to get together. And look, when they had the run, Bobby Lashley was that WWE champion. Man, I know they want to gloss over it. People not paying attention to it, but that was one of the best runs I've seen ever in wrestling as far as a black wrestler, man. His world championship run was he was devastating. He was awesome. It was better than Ron Simmons' WCW run as world champion. Nobody can mess with Bobby Lashley. Unstoppable. Now, as far as the competition go, I don't know. As far as competition, Ron Simmons had some serious competition over there in WCW with Lex Luger, Big Van Vader. But Bobby Lashley smashed everybody that came in front of him. And man, MVP was a great mouthpiece for him. Now, can it set up the Hurt Business and set up a new iteration of the Hurt Business? So are we going to get new guys that's added to the Hurt Business to make them even more formidable, make that group even more powerful? I heard Carmelo Hayes might be joining in with him. So, hey, who knows? I definitely would like to see him with some other people outside of Shelton Benjamin. And you know what? No, you come back with the same people that you had before. Add Carmelo Hayes and maybe one other person, man. Devastating group. But yeah, they definitely going to get together because MVP, he's too good of a voice for Vince McMahon, Triple H, or whatever, and to drop this guy off. And Bobby Lashley, he's 42 years old, 43 years old, coming on 43 years old. This is his last run, man. He's got to get it in now. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. And, I know WWE has dismissed him plenty times before, but as far as a challenger for Roman Reigns, this man is a challenger for Roman Reigns. But if not for Roman Reigns, they need to separate those belts again. Because, like I say, I think that's a clash of styles when it boils down to it. I look at styles just like I look at styles in boxing. Styles make fights. Bobby Lashley need to be wrestling people that's going to match up with him great inside the ring. Roman Reigns need to wrestle people that's going to match up with him great in the ring. And, Roman Reigns, good for him that he has a body that can pretty much match up with anybody in the ring. He looks good against just about anybody in the ring, the way his body is built. Bobby Lashley looks pretty good in the ring with anybody in the ring because his skill set. But he does look a little awkward when he was going up against Brock Lesnar. That's a clash. I'm sorry. It's a clash of styles, man, with those two, even though we want to see it. And I want to see more of it. We want to see it. It's a clash of styles with those two. Bobby Lashley and Sheamus will be a clash of styles, the way their bodies are built. It's just certain people, look good together and certain people that don't look good together. But, man, Bobby Lashley definitely need that title. All right. Okay, let's see. My man, let's see who's next. All right, the Coog 97, also an OG boxing fan too, no doubt. L.E. Liston, Patterson, Fraser, Foreman, Norton, Leonard, Duran, Hagler, Hearns, Chavez, Morales, Morel. God almighty. So Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston, Pat Patterson, Joe Fraser, George Foreman, Ken Norton, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Thomas Hagler, Marvin Marvelous Hagler, Thomas Hearns, God almighty, man, Chavez. I can't even think of Chavez first name right now. Let's start with a C. I can't think of his first name. Hector Camacho. I'm thinking of Hector Camacho. Chavez different. I can't even think of his first name right now. But Eric Morales and Burrell. Boy, I can't even think of Burrell's first name right now. Haven't seen him in such a long time. But yeah, definitely Burrell, man, one of my favorite boxers. That not trilogy, but I think he had quadruple with with Pac-Man. That right there, one of the best of all time, and damaged both boxers. Definitely damaged both of them. So you got Eric Morales and Barrera. I can't even remember his first name right now. But man, yes. So the coup, man, definitely boxing. That's one of my big things, and one of my best friends, man. You know, we both box. Like I say, you know, I boxed in the amateurs. So, Golden Gloves. So, we talking about doing a boxing podcast. But I really didn't. We've done so much with this. It's kind of hard to get into it. And me and him was supposed to start that before we started this. All actuality, before me and Chris started this. I wish Chris know a good bit about boxing too. I wish he would go ahead and do a little bit of boxing podcast with me. But you might be seeing Harry's boxing soon, or HBT's boxing, or something like that. All right, Ricky Williams says, "Oh no, Harry, please don't say that. Laugh out loud." Okay, Ricky, I'm not sure exactly what you were saying, my man. Don't say. But sorry, whatever I say. All right, the Coop 97 says Tyson, Matthew Saad Muhammad, Aiden Mustafa Muhammad, Leon Spinks, Michael Spinks, Holmes, Larry Holmes, yeah, one of the greats, man. Ernie Shavers, Ricky Williams. I'm not sensitive, Harry, but Lashley will say, Harry, you a cool OG, but Ron Simmons is a legend. Okay, that's what you saying now to say. If it wasn't for him, we will not see a black champion in pro wrestling in history. You know, hey, look, Ron Simmons, man, look, I'm going to go back in the day. Ron Simmons was the first recognized world champion that we know of in our time in modern history. But the first black world champion was Black Cat Wright. He won that thing in WWE. I think it was in not WWE, WWA. It used to be an organization in San Francisco. They was pretty big throughout California and over in Hawaii and stuff like that, and through the islands. It was WWA. It was a big territory, and they recognized they had a world champion. They was world champion. Now they wasn't on the scale of NWA and AWA and then the WWE, which every now and then they would get recognized as world champion. But WWE had got recognized by some publications as world champion, as a world champion region. So and Black Cat Wright was the world champion over there one time. So officially, he's the first black world champion before Ron Simmons. But because of WWA is not rec- Wow, guys, if you're still there, I can't. Uh, I'm sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I switched to my tablet. Uh, I'm just had so still here, man. But yeah, back to my man Ricky Williams. All right, so wow, man. All right, guys, man. Look, my phone will be coming back into play in a little bit, and then I'm gonna go back on that. But yeah, give me just a second. Give me a second here. But I'm glad I'm still here, man. I'll just drop off. Let me go back and finish saying there for a minute. For a minute there. Say, man, it's a bunch of people. Head the girl, Harry. Yes, yeah, that's it. Julio Cesar Chavez. Yes, the man fought wars in the ring, man. Goodness sake, man. Yeah, Ricky Williams. Yeah, Ricky Williams. Let me go back to that, man. Yeah, but Ron Simmons, man, is the first recognized because he was recognized by, that was the NWA title. That was the huge title. That was the real world championship, with lineage going all the way back, man, to the 50s and all that. So that was the real world champion. So, let's see, Funk, Terry Funk, Jack Briscoe, let's see, Harley Race, Ric Flair, man, and there's a few other ones I can't really think of them right now. Buddy Rogers, and gosh, man, there's a couple of them really good. One more that's really good I can't really think of that held the NWA World Championship, and Ron Simmons was able to be part of that and be in that line. So yeah, so he's the first really recognized for the WWE World Championship, even their tag team championships which the Anderson brothers and people like that held it. Is not really Ray Stevens and Pat Patterson. It's not being recognized. It's some people recognize it, but it's not really being recognized. If you even go and look at some of the sites now and a lot of wrestling organizations, they really don't recognize that. Even though they call themselves the world, as a world title, it just wasn't prestigious enough. So yeah, Ron Simmons was the first world champion. So yeah, we have to acknowledge that. We definitely have to acknowledge that. All right, my man, Ricky Williams. The Coug says Wilfred Benitez, definitely Alexis Arguello and Aaron Pryor, the Hulk. All right, Ricky Williams, do we see Big E back, Harry? You talk about a pop. Oh, no doubt about it, man. I would love to see Big E back. Big E is not my favorite in the world, but man, he definitely became one of my favorites. And like I say, within his last run when he had the title and everything, hate seeing him get hurt like that, man. He definitely needs to come back. He comes back, man. Hope he comes back healthy and able to have a career in that. If not, just come back and have a healthy life, man, and be able to do something in wrestling. If it's a commentary or whatever, show up on the shows or do whatever he does, man. Definitely, that's going to be great. All right. Let's see. Ricky Williams says, Harry, that's what they're doing on Raw. Raw tag belt is coming back on Raw Judgment Day versus Bloodline. Yes, it's heading. It's coming up. Yes, it is. Ricky Williams, MVP and Heyman on the mic face off. Yes. Woo, that would be awesome. Yeah, definitely would be fire, Ricky Williams. Yes, the Coug said Julio Cesar, Chavez. Yeah, Marco Antonio Barrera. That's it. All right, no doubt, man. Appreciate you correcting me on that, Coug. I couldn't think of him right at that time. Could not. Ricky Williams, Harry, did you like Roy Jones Jr. back then in boxing? Heck yeah, he was my favorite, man. Man, talking about speed, man. Talking about speed. And Roy Jones Jr. Definitely knew him from the amateur days, but we was in different weight classes, so he was a couple years younger than me back in when we was fighting in Golden Gloves. All right, Harry, that's smart. Do it, Harry. You get more and even more people. That's smart marketing. Yes, no doubt. Booker D said he's going to do the same on his podcast, more boxing. Yes, great, definitely. Let's see, the Coug 97, Hacksaw Butch Reed too. Yes, Hacksaw Butch Reed, man. Hacksaw Butch Reed, something else. Love Hacksaw Butch Reed. I remember when he first came into Georgia, I was just like, wow, man, who in the world is this guy? And then he went over to Mid-South, causing all kind of carnage. Great wrestler. All right. Wow, man, I need to catch up. Ricky Williams, yeah, Harry, I grew up on all wrestling as a kid. Blackjack Mulligan, Ricky Williams. Blackjack Mulligan, met him, sat down and ate with him at my grandma's house. Blackjack Mulligan and Ric Flair came over to my grandma's house in 1975 when I was 8 years old, sat down and ate dinner with us, and I was scared as I don't know what at Blackjack Mulligan. He was scary. And I thought he was racist. I didn't think he liked black people. Because he beat up these guys, man, these two twin black guys on TV. And man, I just thought he was beating him up because he was black, man. I didn't know. I didn't know because of the way him and Ric Flair approached the match. Rufus R. Freight Train Jones brought him out and said they the first black twins in professional wrestling, and they ready. Blackjack Mulligan and Ric Flair come out there, and Blackjack Mulligan, he put his hand, how he was, big cowboy. Blackjack Mulligan said, "So you say these boys ready, huh?" And Rufus R. Jones like, yeah, and they was like, yeah, man, yeah, we're ready to get it on. Let's do it. So they went in, no, Blackjack and Ric Flair just grabbed him and threw him in the ring, beat the hell out of him, especially Blackjack Mulligan. I was scared of him ever since then. But my mom, not my mom, but my grandmother, she knew those wrestlers. She used to talk to every one of them. Went every Monday night to Greenville Memorial Auditorium. Was in good with those wrestlers. They loved her. And she invited Rick over, and Blackjack was around. And I was scared as on the what. And came over, my aunts, my aunt, my uncle, and we all sat down and ate, man. And greatest people in the world, man. Two of the greatest guys, man. They just beautiful sitting down eating with him. But I tell you what, I was scared of Blackjack at first, man. But he was really nice to me. But I was afraid of that dude, man. I was like, oh my gosh, Blackjack Mulligan is the meanest guy in the world, man. This guy big, Hey, man, I'm a kid, man. This guy, 6'8", because he was bigger than Barry. Barry was like 6'6", 6'7", but Blackjack was bigger than his sons. He's taller than Barry and Kendall. I mean, Blackjack was just a big, tough, rugged guy, and one of the all-time greats as far as in wrestling. He was known as one of the toughest guys in the business. As far as he had that reputation like Harley Race in Maine, as far as a street fight. If there's any trouble in the back room, Blackjack Mulligan, you didn't want to say anything to him. This guy would knock you completely out. So, he was legit, man. He was legit, along with Blackjack, not Blackjack, but Sonny King and Bearcat Wright. Blackjack Mulligan, he got in a fight with Sonny King one time, beat Sonny King up. He almost got into a Blackcat Wright, but Sonny King and Blackcat Wright was really known to be tough. But Sonny King actually said that when he was younger. He said, man, that big, I couldn't handle that big cowboy. But Blackjack Mulligan, man, that something special, man. Something special. All right. Ricky Williams said Ric Flair. Ricky Williams, Teddy Long was a manager for Skyscrapers, Taker, and Sid. Yes, he was. You know what? That version of Skyscrapers, I definitely liked it. Liked them, Undertaker and Sid Vicious. I didn't care for the not Undertaker, but it was Mean Mark Callis and who was that? Dan Spivey. I never could get into Dan Spivey, man. I never could. I didn't like that version of Skyscrapers. But Undertaker and Sid Vicious, very, very good team. Jacoby Peter says, yo, the Cool Straight Up Wrestling Show. I love your passion for Black representation in wrestling. I do the same for Mexican representation. Too, not just now, but in the past. It's what we grew up with. Yes, no doubt. Jeff Samuel, what's up, my man? Jeff Samuel, oh my God, Harry. Lay Law, legendary group from Above the Law, passed away. Oh my gosh, man. Wow. Oh man, thanks for letting me know that, man. Goodness sake. Man, I'm gonna have to go back and watch one of their videos now, man. I'm joking, boy. When they was riding in the car, man, just bumping when they had the first jam. Watch that video. Wow, that's crazy. Travis Richards, you say you can't hear me? Oh, can you hear me now, Travis? I hope you can. Harry, nobody can hear you. Oh, wow. Okay, give me a second, man. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, you can hear. Okay, it was your headphone. Well, my mic went out for a minute there, Jeff. It definitely did. Travis, it went out for just a minute. All right. The Coog 97 says, plus fans forgot that EMLL, now CMLL, in Mexico was born in 1933, long before there was any U.S. promotion in history. Yes, it was. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, it's been around for a while. But guys, I'm about to switch over, man. Give me just a second. All right. Okay, something's going on here. Oh, guys, I'm about to switch back over, and I will. So just bear with me. Bear with me. Stay with me. We rocking on into midnight, man. Well, let's see, what time is it now? Let's see. Yeah, 12:51, man. We're gonna rock on to midnight. We're gonna rock on to the 1 o'clock hour, and then, man, we're gonna shut this thing down. But yeah, stick with me. You might see two of me for a minute, but yeah, I'm just gonna switch over. So you might see two of them. All right, guys. I'm gonna finish up here. Give me just a second. All right. rock this. We're gonna finish this thing out. I want to get to everybody's just like we always do. All right, guys. All right. Let me see. Just 1 second. But yeah, I appreciate each and every one of you guys joining here, man. And like I said, hit that like, share, join. If you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, hit that like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so we know when you're on, ding, you know when we're on, ding, ding, ding. And hit that, if you're on Twitter, hit that like, share, tweet, and retweet. And if you're on Twitch, man, do the same thing that you do here on YouTube. But yeah, let me go ahead and all right, get on back up to what Jacoby Peter said, yo, and somebody, man, tried to send me some sex message or whatever, but I'm definitely not gonna be answering that garbage. All right, the Coog, Straight Up Wrestling Show, okay. Said, yeah, I saw what you said there. Jeff Samuel, then Travis Richards, can't hear you, man. No, Harry, nobody can hear you. The Coog Plus fans forget, yeah, already talked about that. Ricky Williams, Harry, do we see Big E back? Hopefully so. The Coog 97, not saying Lucha is better, but just want to make sure fans know the origins of wrestling around the world. Definitely Coog. Coog says, I love U.S. wrestling, Japan, Peru, Reso, and Mexico Lucha. Just happy we can enjoy it all. Definitely Coog. Travis Richards says, never mind, Harry. I can hear you. It's my headphones. It's my headphones. All right, I'm glad that you can hear me, Travis. I laugh out loud. The Coop 97 says, quick question. What was the first main event match you ever saw live as a kid in person? Ric Flair versus Chief Wahoo McDaniel was the first main event match that I saw. Great match, man. Outstanding. And it was when Ric Flair popped Wahoo McDaniel upside the head with a 2x4. And, man, blood went everywhere. That's when I started liking Ric Flair. I was 8 years old. Started cheer. I didn't cheer for him. A big smile went over my face, and my aunt turned around. My aunt Jackie turned around. She seen that smile on my face, and she was like, "What are you doing, smiling? What Ric Flair? He just did that, And I'm just like, and she was like, "You like him, don't you?" And I was like, "No, I don't. No, I don't." Everybody in that arena, man. Everybody that was in that section, I still remember it to this day. I still remember it to this day. Everybody in that section, we was in section E on on the second level at Greenville Memorial Auditorium. Everybody looked at me, turned around. Them fans looked like they wanted to kill me, man. Because they what he just had done to Chief Wahoo McDaniel. And man, I was just like, yeah. But man, I saw a star. I saw a star. I saw his when I looked at Ric Flair, I was 8 years old when I saw him at the time. Because I had saw him before. I had saw him in, when he first came to when he came to Mid-Atlantic area, when he came down to the Carolinas, he was teaming up with Rip Hawk. He was big. He was, he was a big guy. He was a little bit taller than what he was because, yeah, his vertebrae, it messed up his vertebrae and he dropped him down a couple inches, when he was in that plane crash, after that plane crash. But I had saw him. He was with Rip Hawk. He was big. He was burly and stuff. He was a power lifter with Ken Patera and everything. And he came back, and George Scott had changed his persona, and he started doing the Buddy Rogers type thing, the Nature Boy gimmick. And that's the first time I seen him doing the Nature Boy gimmick live. I saw him on TV doing that, and he was talking about woo, and walking around, strutting around, like looking at this guy. And nobody liked him in the whole neighborhood, man. People hated him. That's when everybody in the neighborhood talked about wrestling. You go outside on a Saturday, man, everybody talked about wrestling. Everybody, especially the kids. And the adults was talking about it. Everybody talked about it. And we went on every Monday night at the Greenville Auditorium. Man, Ric Flair, I didn't like him in this match against Wahoo McDaniel. Everybody liked the great Chief, Chief Wahoo McDaniel. I didn't really care for Chief Wahoo McDaniel, but I didn't like Ric Flair at first. But Ric Flair, man, after he hit Wahoo with that doggone 2x4, he started strutting around and everything, man. And he like that big old woo. That's the first time I heard him do that. Smile came on my face. I became instant fan of his. Man, I saw the swag. I saw, the style he had, everything. He was just like one of the, remind me something off Superfly or something, man. That movie Superfly. He just had it. He just had it. I'm like, this guy is, man, he just Superfly. He's it. And he resonated with me and with so many young black folks back then, and young black kids. And my white friends in school, all my white, they hated him. Most of the black kids, we loved him. And I guess we saw a lot of him in us. And that style, that passion, that grace that he had, we saw that in him. In us, we saw it in us. I had white kids. And my best friends who was white, some of my best friends, Lee Weeks and Jimmy Styles, a guy named Jimmy Styles, had actual name Styles. They became my best friends all the way up through middle school, because in high school, I ended up moving to another area of the county and wasn't going to high school with him, but we stayed friends on the phone. But he was my best friends outside of my black best friends. I had black best friends and white best friends in school back in the 70s when I was growing up. And my white best friends, they loved Ric Flair. But the other ones that were just casual, just friends that, hey, yes, and stuff like that, we played kickball on. They hated Ric Flair, and they hated me. They hated certain things about me because I love Ric Flair. And other black boys, black kids on this, you guys like Ric Flair. They couldn't stand Ric Flair, man. But it was really funny, but it was really cool, man. It was really cool. But a lot of those guys later on, man, in middle school and high school, they started loving Ric Flair. They didn't like him back then. They loved him. You could not deny the talent. You just couldn't deny the talent. But Jump's crazy, man. But yeah, man, let me get to everybody. Let me try to get everybody's so many people are commenting here or whatever. So yeah, the Coug 97. Quick question. What was okay, yeah, just like I say, first main event, I'll just let you know. Coug 97, for me, 1977, Sam Houston Coliseum in Houston, yes. Josh Lothario and Mil Mascaras versus Gino Hernandez and Grand Marcus, man, that had to be great. That right there had to be great, man. So I love especially Lothario and Mascaras, man. Hernandez, I liked him a lot too. Marcus was very good. Got to meet Mill at the fan meet. Gave me his autograph mask 45 years ago. I still have it. Wow, man. Wow. Rick Joe, Harry, you back, man. It's okay now. Thank you, Rick Joe. The Coug, my God, Wahoo Daniel was my grandparents' favorite wrestler. Yeah, man. He was big time. And the reason people loved him so much in the Carolinas, man, him and Johnny Valentine was willing to kill each other. Him and Johnny Valentine was willing to kill each other, man, to get over and make the thing believable. And they did. Those chops, man, were, oh my gosh, man. That was brutal. You talk about, you got to look at, if you look at, your fans who didn't see it, I mean, because you can go back to YouTube and look at some of it, but you see, you think about those two matched up. Think about Gunther versus Sheamus. Walter versus Ilya Dragunov, but a little bit more violent than that. That's how violent their confrontations was. So, man, that was outstanding. All right, Rick Joe says, "Oh my God, Harry, Tatanka and Kurt Angle gonna be on Raw anniversary January 30th, and also Ric Flair. Oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh. The Coug 97. Damn, I wish all those young ones nowadays were alive back then. Yes, me too, man. All right, Travis Richards. I agree, Coug, but I can't predict the future. We only live once. Yeah, once. Yeah. Travis Richards. Imagine if Roddy was here. He would be a manager, a backstage guy, help MJF with promos. Yes, he would. I mean, Roddy Piper, I remember when he first came to the Mid-Atlantic area back in 1979, came in with that kilt. I didn't understand it, man. I didn't laugh at him or anything. People were laughing at him. And I remember he got in the ring. First got in the ring, he started to try to play them bagpipes. The guy didn't want to let him play the bagpipes, man. Bad mistake. Bad mistake. Roddy beat that man senseless, man. That's all I can really say. I was in fifth grade. Was it fifth grade? Yeah, sixth grade. 1979. Never forget it, man. Crazy. All right. So here we go. Let's see. The Coug, Travis Richards for sure. Just love wrestling history. Ricky Williams, Harry, who you think Gunther will be a good fit to face back then in AWA 80s if you had to choose? Woo! AWA back in the 80s. Gunther against somebody from the 80s in AWA. Stan Hansen, man. That would be vicious. Stan Hansen would have been vicious. Rick Martel would have gave him a test. It would have been kind of like him and Ricochet, but not on that scale because, but Rick Martel, as far as his toughness, would have matched up with him good. Uh, Baron Von Raschke, even though Baron Von Raschke was a heel. Let's see. Wow, man. Wow. See, I'm not gonna say Crusher or Bruce. I'm not gonna say Bruiser, whatever. They was older. Nick Botwinkle, not gonna say him. He was the champ. But like I say, Gunther would have been a top. He would have been top 2 or 3 contender. Also, you can throw in Hulk Hogan. I think he would have been a good one for Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan did wrestle in the AWA in the 80s. So, wow, that would be great, man. There is no doubt about that. So that's a good question. Very good question. Ricky Williams. So, man. All right, the cool. Travis Richards. There are a lot of wrestling stars right now. You might hate them, but 50 years from now, you will miss them. Hey, probably so. Probably so. Cool. That's true. That's true. But look, it's just kind of hard, man. Because back then, you could see guys, man, that was wrestling back then, and you knew they was going to be legendary. Right now, it's hard to really pick certain guys and say, oh, he's going to be a legendary wrestler. People are going to be talking for him. In 20 years from now, everybody is going to be talking about him. 30 years from now, it's hard to pick that out. And me and Chris both have been talking about that. Who are the guys that's going to be legendary figures 20, 30 years from now? That's going to be remembered like the Ric Flair is going to be remembered like the Hulk Hogan is going to be remembered like speaking of Rick Martel, who's going to be remembered like the Rick Rudes, who's going to be remembered like the Stings, who's going to be remembered like the Lex Lugers, the Nikita Koloffs, so many more, man. Bob Backlund, Bruno Sammartino, who going to be, Harley Race. Who are the guys? Superstar Billy Graham. Who are the guys that we have now that we're going to be talking about, like we talk about these famous wrestlers that we talk about now, like Bret Hart and people. Who are the guys, man? Who are the guys? I don't know. I mean, there's a few of them out here. It's definitely a few of them, but not as many as because back then you knew that these guys was going to be legendary. The Steiner brothers, you knew that from the first 2-3 years, man, that you saw them in the ring together. You knew they was going to be legendary if they kept going. The Midnight Express, you knew they was going to be legendary. Rock and Roll Express, you knew they was going to be legendary. I didn't know about it. I didn't know about the Rockers. I didn't know if Shawn Michaels ever was going to be what he came out to be. But I knew that about the Road Warriors. You knew certain guys, man, that you was going to be talking about decades later. Ivan Koloff, number 1 Paul Jones. You knew it. You just knew it. But now, man, I just don't know. I just don't know. And I will be straight up about that. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh, Ricky. Oh, my gosh, man. What you just said there. Gunther versus Rick would have been something, or Stan Hansen, yes. Folks hated Flair, Botwinkle, Piper, but they are legends now, no doubt. Ricky Williams said, Jake the Snake said in an interview, he wanted to teach these promos, promos, have a promo class. Ricky Williams said Gunther versus Rick would have been something, or Stan Hansen, yes. Ricky Williams, I agree, cool. All the people we talk about as legends. The Cool, Haystack Calhoun's, yes, man, definitely. Even like say you talk about big wrestlers, man, Crusher Blackwell and people like that. Even One Man Gang, but Crusher Blackwell, man, definitely a legend. So Big John Studd, yes. Ricky Williams, Gunther versus Terry would be badass. We can add weapons also. Yeah, exactly. Big John Studd, Ricky Williams. I don't know how WWE did it, Harry, but they were smart to sign Gunther. He bring the old feel back. Yes, he does. Ricky Williams' drugs was a part of it too, Harry. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Ricky Williams said, be remembered like Stone Cold or Rock or Taker or Kane. See, I didn't even think about them. See, same thing. Rock was able to, in a short time in the ring, was able to do things to make him legendary, especially his mic work. Stone Cold Steve Austin definitely would have been remembered, even if he would have never been Stone Cold. He did enough to be stunning Steve Austin to have be remembered. And with the Hollywood Blondes, man, just a great wrestler. And I mean, as far as in WWE, he became just a kicker and a puncher. But this guy was one of the best wrestlers I ever seen at stunning Steve Austin. He just didn't get the recognition that he deserved. I mean, my man Christopher Burton didn't even realize that he was the United States champion one time in WCW. I had all kind of trouble convincing him. I had to show him that he was WCW champion. He said, "Man, I had no idea." I said, "That's because you didn't pay no attention." Oh, Ricky Williams, how in the world could I forget that? Jack Briscoe, man, yeah, Jack Briscoe, probably my second favorite singles wrestler, no, third favorite after Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, and Jack Briscoe. Now, Ricky Steamboat probably would be my number one favorite wrestler of all time if he wouldn't have did that thing with having his wife come on when he had that little series in '89 against Ric Flair. But you know, the matches that he had with Flair in the '70s, early '80s, that they could never be matched, man. That feud, oh my gosh, man, oh my gosh, wow. Oh yeah. Let me see. I have a few people. The Cook said, I have a few people gonna hate for my views, but I have a few. Ricky Williams, Harry, do you watch Briscoe and JBL podcast on YouTube? It's really good. They have legends in there people never heard of. No, I really don't. I watched it one time. And Jerry Briscoe, we actually had him on our show too. One time before we had him on a live show. We had Gerald Briscoe last year. No, last year, Ricky, on our show. Travis Richard says, for sure, I missed them. Cool. Ricky Williams, Jack Briscoe, that's my man. That is my man. The Coop 97. I've been watching this for 48 years. It's my view on who currently will be remembered. Yes, definitely. Yeah, I've been watching actually 51 years, 51 years, Cool. But understanding it for about 48 years, as far as my understanding. We're really around 75 is when I really 74, 75 is really when I really started understanding, and I was 8 years old. When Wahoo McDaniel knocked the teeth out, he knocked the teeth out of Boris Malenko. He knocked the teeth out of his mouth. That's when I first really took note of wrestling. I'm like, you know, they was wrestling on TV one Saturday. It was in 74, and he knocked Boris Malenko teeth out of his mouth. And I was just like, okay. From then on, I paid attention to every single thing. And the Anderson brothers, Ole Anderson sacrificed his brother against in a match against Mr. Wrestling Tim Woods, and who was Tim Woods' partner? I think it was it was George and Sandy Scott versus the Anderson brothers, and he took George Scott and he threw him into Ole. Ole took him and threw him into Gene's head, sacrificed him, and Gene after that, Gene started doing that head movement all the time. He did until he got out of wrestling, doing the head movement, and said he damaged his brother's head. So man, that's when I really started paying attention around '74. It was just flat out crazy. All right, Ricky Williams, Austin Idol in his NWA days. Loved him over there in Georgia, especially in Tennessee too. But Austin Idol, I love Austin Idol. I thought he was going to be another Ric Flair, the next Ric Flair superstar Billy Graham. You know, great, very good. Ken Patera, Harry, yes. Used to love him and Ken Patera and Tony Atlas. Great feud there, man. Those two, that test of strength and everything that they did together, great. Ricky Williams said, I like that NWA guy, Austin Idol, and Father James Mitchell. They're legends. That's why I watch a little of it, Harry. Yes. Ricky Williams, Ricky Steamboat is my favorite. Woo. Ricky Steamboat, man, just outstanding wrestler. Did so many things for the business. And man, he was one of those guys that really got me over back in the day. You know, I became a bigger Ricky Steamboat fan in 1976, 1977 when he rolled in. I became a bigger fan. I started liking him more than I like Ric Flair. And that's because Flair was attacking him all the time and, took his face, rubbed it into the cement, put that big old mark on his face. I didn't hate Ric Flair. I just like Ricky Steamboat better. And Ricky Steamboat, man, one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time. Don't get the respect he deserves for that because he won world tag titles with so many different partners. Definitely that needs to be acknowledged. Oh man, Rip Rogers, yes, definitely Rip Rogers, something special. But Ricky Williams said, which is strange, Harry, because Ricky is Korean. Again, Ricky is one to have New Japan as promotion. Yes. Rick Joe says, why you think I like Tony D'Angelo? He got the old school feel. Man, love Tony D'Angelo. Love him. He don't get the respect he deserves, though, man. Old school feel. Also, his wrestling reminds me of Brutus Beefcake. Yes, definitely. But Tony D'Angelo, man, pisses me off. They just don't use him the way they need to use it. All right, Ricky Williams said Rip Rogers. Ricky Williams said Johnny Rod. Johnny Rods. Yeah, he was pretty good too. I'm not sure if that's the way he's actually said, but I definitely used to like him. And man, he did not get over the way he should have got over. he deserved more props than what he got too. The Coop 97, Kenny Omega has perfected the three styles of U.S. wrestling. That is a great wrestler. That is a great wrestler. The Coop, Kenny Omega, Mexican lucha and Japan. Reso, nobody in the 48 years I've seen has done that. He can go to Japan, Mexico, the U.S., and have fire matches. Yes, man, that guy's awesome. Bill Watts, Ricky Williams, Bill Watts. I used to like to watch him as a wrestler. I liked him as a wrestler more than I did as a promoter. Put it that way. Definitely, man. But Bill Watts, man, he's an unforgettable guy as a wrestler. He reminded me of who was that other guy? Cowboy. He wrestled in. I can't think of the other cowboy, but Cowboy Bill Watts and this other cowboy. That they both remind me of each other. But I think of them a little bit later. But Cowboy Bill Watts was something special, man, to see in the ring. The Coop 97, he is also fluent in Japanese. I seen him speak Japanese, man. I was very stunned at that Coop 97. This message is held for review. All right, guys. You see me, but I don't see you. Just a moment. I don't know why in the world I'm not in, but just a moment. Just a moment. Technical. All right, guys, having technical difficulties, man. Sorry about that. But my phone went off again. But hopefully it comes back on. But I'm on my tablet again. But let me see. I think Ricky Williams, they held your comment. I guess they probably thought you were saying something racist or whatever. But you said Black Bart. I did see that. Black Bart, definitely, man. Black Bart, something else. And I love hearing him on podcasts. Black Bart has a lot to say, man. Very smart, very knowledgeable. Remembers a lot of things, man. Black Bart was something else. I definitely liked him, especially when he was teaming up with Ron Bass. I liked him as a team with Ron Bass, him and Ronnie Bass. Managed by J.J. Dillon, was a great tag team in Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. I like them better than when they feuded with each other. A lot better. So yeah, that was great. All right, Mad Dog Vachon. Oh my gosh, man. Definitely got to talk about him in just a moment. All right. The Coop 97 said he is the best bout machine. Love him or hate him, he is the real deal. Yes, Kenny Omega is the real deal, man. And to me, he's the most talented wrestler in the business today. He really is. And he should have the AEW World Championship. And he's the one who can take wrestling to the next level, man. He is, he doesn't have to have the big WWE machine behind him. He doesn't. Definitely doesn't. All right. Ricky Williams said Mad Dog Vachon was scary back then. Yes, he was, Ricky Williams. Very scary. Man, I remember when he first came to Georgia. I knew about Mad Dog Vachon. Never seen him this way. I knew he was this crazy joker. But I remember when he came to Georgia, Dusty Rhodes brought him in there to get at Ole Anderson and Stan the Man Hansen, and had him in a cage. and, Dusty was like, "You don't want me to open up this cage? You don't want me to pull back this curtain?" We didn't know who was in that cage, but all I know was rattling and things like that, man. Like a mad dog was in there. They pulled it back. It was Mad Dog Vachon. Gordon Soley said, "That's Mad Dog Vachon." And Mad Dog Vachon was biting on the cage and everything, man. I was like, "Oh my gosh, man." I was just like, that was just flat out crazy. I knew about Mad Dog Vachon, knew about it, some of his exploits in AWA, but I never had seen him like that. And that was the most vicious I ever seen him. And I was afraid for Ole and Stan Hansen, man. I was afraid for those guys. But Mad Dog Vachon, man, he is something else. That jump was crazy. Greg Gagne, yeah, Ricky Williams, man. Greg Gagne, I used to like Greg Gagne, but Greg Gagne, man, he would have probably been world champion over there if he would have had the size. He just never could get that size. And, too bad, man. One of his mainstays, one of his best partners, was better than he was, was pretty much preferred over him.
jumping Jim Brunzell, man. Jim Brunzell was just woo, talking about somebody that was incredible. His partner Jim Brunzell was incredible. But Greg Gagne, man, Vern wasn't gonna let him get the world title. He should have let his son get the world title or come close to it. Come close to it. But he got a lot of world tag team titles with Jim Brunzell. So Greg Gagne definitely gonna go down in history, man. As one of the best. And Greg Gagne, man, I believe him when he says all that stuff that Eric Bischoff did, came over here and did, and brought to Ted Turner. Greg Gagne is the one who told him all that stuff, and he went ahead and stole it. I believe that. I believe Greg. Definitely do. All right. Yeah, the Cool said Kenny loves Mexico and Japan styles too. He gets it. Yes, he does. Ricky Williams, hell, I add Eddie and Chavo, Guerrero, and Hector for Mexico too. Yes, definitely. Man, I used to love Hector Guerrero, man. I loved all of them. All of, Chavo, all of them. All right. Also, after Dynamite went off the air last night, Kenny gave kudos to Penta and Phoenix. Okay, cool. The Elite get a lot of hate, but I love them because they get it. It takes two to tango in the ring. Yes, it does. Oh, okay. Thanks, Harry. Yes, definitely. Man, goodness sake, I definitely want to get back on my phone. But guys, I'm gonna head out of here in just a moment. The cool says Ricky Williams, Chavo Guerrero Senior, who I saw as a kid when Eddie was a kid. Damn, I'm old, laugh out loud. Yeah, I used to watch Chavo Guerrero Senior too, man. Definitely. Dr. Tom Pritchard, yes. Ricky Williams, man, very, very, definitely a scientific master in the ring. Right, cool. Ricky Williams says, what happened to the Midnight Express? Facebook user says, and I'm not sure which Facebook user this is, but man, like I said, I hope my phone comes back on and I will answer you. But let me keep this thing on. But yeah, what happened to the Midnight Express, man? Hey, Bobby, my man Bobby Eaton just died. Stan Lane is still around. Dennis Condrey is still around. But my man Bobby Eaton did just pass away. Rest in peace to him. Let's see. But I'm trying to get my phone back on. But I cannot answer who this Facebook user is until that happens. But appreciate you joining. It's probably Melanie McKeith or it's Raymond or somebody. But guys, I cannot even get that on. I can't even check the Facebook user right now. And my man Cook said Straight Up Wrestling Show. Remember Devon Eriks versus the Freebirds in World Class? That was nuclear hate. There's no doubt about it, man. Ricky Williams, Adrian Adonis. Yeah, love Adrian Adonis. My favorite Adrian Adonis is when he teamed up with Jesse Ventura and he was AWA World Heavyweight Champions. Love that team, man. They complemented each other well. They did things well, man. They was a well-oiled machine. Love that tag team in AWA. And my man, the Cool says Exotic Adrian Street. Exotic Adrian Street was it, man. He was the shiznit, man. He was the man. So when that type of gimmick was controversial, and who was that copied Adrian Street? Somebody copied him. That became really famous, became more famous than Adrian did, but they was over in WWE or WWF or whatever. Yeah, Vader, man. Big Van Vader. Bam Bam Bigelow. Whoo. Big Van Vader, man. You get no better than that. You get no better than that. But guys, man, I'm just trying to figure out who was that did no, it wasn't Ric Flair that did Exotic Adrian Street, man. Somebody else did Exotic Adrian Street. Oh, Adrian Adonis is the one who did Adrian Street. It was Adrian Adonis. That flamboyant. He pretty much copied that same gimmick. But Adrian Street is the one who really made that famous. Oh, man, my phone fell out. That's the reason why I wouldn't come back up. Yeah. Guys, give me a moment. All right. So I'm going to be a little bit darker here because my light is out. But yeah, Adrian Adonis. Yeah, he definitely did copy him. Definitely copied him. No doubt about that. But because he was up there in WWE, he was in WWF, he definitely got more recognition doing it. Couldn't say. He definitely got more recognition doing that than Adrian Street got for him. Because Adrian Street never was up there in that, he never. Couldn't say, man. Wow, dude. Yeah, Adrian Street never got the recognition he deserved in doing that gimmick because he just didn't have the platform. Guys, stick in there with me. Yeah, he never had the platform that Adrian Adonis had. Adrian Adonis had the platform. He was up there in New York. Had the platform, and it is what it is. But yeah, we know Adrian Street is the one who started that. He perfected it, and Adrian Street, man, I would say was more talented. But I did love Adrian Adonis and Jesse Ventura. And Adrian Adonis, man, Adrian Adonis did well in WWE. But man, when he was with Jesse Ventura, that thing, it was great. All right, Tully Blanchard and Arn, man, you can't beat that. You definitely can't beat that tag team. The Garvins, Ronnie and Jim Garvin, Ron Garvin and Jim Garvin, great tag team. Great tag team. All right, Tully and Arn, man, one of the top 5 of all time. There's no doubt about that. If not number 2, number 3, well, probably number 3, 4. They anywhere between 3 to 5. One, as far as the top tag teams of all time. It's hard to question that. It really is. It really is. I will have to, put my top 10 down. And I know a lot of people out here want to say the Road Warriors, but to me, they wasn't the best tag team of all time. The Road Warriors probably was my favorite to watch, the most explosive tag team I ever seen, but they wasn't the best that I ever seen. The best I ever seen was Ole and Gene Anderson. That's the best tag team I ever seen in my life. Those guys was killers in the ring, killers. Then I'd say, then I'm gonna go ahead and go with Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner, number 2. Then I'll say maybe the Road Warriors after that. But I tell you what, if Doom would have stayed together maybe 2 years, Doom will be in the conversation. Doom, Ron Simmons and Butch Reed, excellent tag team. But then I got to look at somebody like the Midnight Express. Got to look at Rock and Roll Express. I got to look at Bruiser and Crusher. I got to look at Tony Atlas and Kevin Sullivan. Great tag team. I have to look at Mr. Wrestling 1 and Mr. Wrestling 2 when they teamed up together. No, wait a minute. Wow. Ricky Dragon Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. Jack and Jerry Briscoe. God, man, I really got to look at this thing. Because, look, Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood has a case to be the number 1 tag team I ever seen. But now I'm going to go a short, brief time. And they didn't team up long. They were so good, they stripped them of the titles. This team was so good. Greg the Hammer Valentine and Ric Flair. That was the most devastating tag team I ever seen. That was the best I ever seen. Those two. Talking about brutal. Those guys were brutal. They was special, man. But guys, let me go ahead and get to these last comments. Then I'm gonna have to go. I need to take care of a couple things with my son, and then I need to get off the bed, man. But it's been great. This thing's been great. All right, but hopefully my phone comes in. I do want to get to that Facebook user. If not, then I'll acknowledge them on Facebook. All right. Okay, let me pull this thing up a little bit closer, man. I'm just going to hold this. Ricky Williams, well, Harry, it seems Arn going to manage his son, and also Brian Pillman Jr. is teased, but in backstage, maybe they get repackaged. Hopefully so. They definitely need to. I think I'm going to build a faction soon, Harry. Ricky Williams say. All right, man. Ricky Williams, how you feel about Jim Cornette, mind in wrestling? Dude's still smart today. Very smart. A lot of things we say is kind of funny. If you listen to my podcast, or I definitely got to tape some of these things that me and Chris do. If you listen to me and then you listen to Jim Cornette, a lot of times we come off the same way as far as on our podcast. Some things are different, but a lot of things are the same. Now, Jim Cornette, I disagree with what he says about. I disagree with him about what he says about Kenny Omega. I definitely disagree with him there. He can't stand Kenny Omega. I like Kenny Omega. Think he's one of the best, man, to ever do it. Especially today, he's one of the best. He's gonna go down legendary. But he hates Kenny Omega. That's one thing I do disagree with him on. I disagree with him on a few other points, but that probably a couple of things. But mainly, man, I agree with him on pretty much everything. Let's see. And I think he don't like Trent Beretta. He said some things about Trent Beretta, but I think Trent Beretta is a huge talent, one of the best wrestlers in the world today. He just stuck up with that best friends, and he's not getting, he's not getting the work that he deserved to get. But that's the only thing I really disagree with him on, man, to tell you the truth, as far as wrestling go. All right, Coog says, Adrian Street kissed his opponents in the ring in the 80s. Yes, he did. Yes, he did, man. Used to crack me up. That sent the crowd wild. A true trailblazer to get the heat. Yes. Ricky Williams, Jim tell you how to book, how to be over, how to be a heel or face. Yes, man. He definitely needs Tony Khan needs him. Tony Khan needs him bad. I wish he did have him. It was Jim's idea for Ricky Morton to be over as a team or singles, Harry. Yeah. I mean, Ricky Morton, he did. He worked well with Ricky. Ricky Morton worked. Those two worked well in Smoky Mountain. Jim Cornette, man, was good for Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. He was the one who created the Kane character. Oh, I didn't know that, Ricky. I did not know that. All right. DeCoo says, folks in the chat, listen to Straight Up Wrestling Show. This is a PhD lecture on pro wrestling tag team history. Thanks, Coop. No doubt. All right. The Coop says we need more streams like this. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. All right. Midnight Joe, Midnight Rider, man. Yeah. Dusty Rose. He did that over in Florida, too, man. He did it in Florida, too, that Midnight Rider, man. No doubt. All right. Bob Backlund, Sergeant Slaughter. Yes. Man, Bob Backlund, man. Bob Backlund. I don't care what people say about Howdy Doody. They call him Howdy Doody or whatever. Bob Backlund, one of the greatest wrestlers of all times, man. And Sergeant Slaughter, man, he might have not been in the Marines or whatever, but he got that thing across really good. And Sergeant Slaughter, man, he made Don Kernodle and Jim Nelson, he made them a great tag team. And he was a great tag team when he teamed up with Don Kernodle. And then he teamed up with Jim Nelson too. But Sergeant Slaughter, man, one of the best of all times, no doubt about that. Iron Sheik, man, very, very good wrestler, very strong wrestler, very special. Okay, my phone's coming up, guys, and I'm going to go and I'm going to check out this Facebook user in a little bit. But like I say, man, pretty much I'm about to get off of this thing. Been on here for a long time. But, man, I'm glad so many of you guys stayed with me, man. It's done kept me talking. And I love talking about wrestling, man. And, especially when I get to talk about old school and, some new school mixed in with it, it definitely keeps me going. But let me go over here to some of the things on oh, yeah, that was my brother, man, Antonio Taylor. My brother, Antonio Taylor. Antonio, if you still on here, Midnight Express, like I said, man, Bobby Eaton, just passed away not too long ago. And Stan Lane and Dennis Condrey, they still around. So if they ever wanted to do anything, man, they definitely could. But, yeah, it was my brother, Antonio Taylor. Appreciate it, Antonio, joining me, man, on the Straight Up Wrestling Show on Facebook, checking me out. Let's see what we got here, man. All right, Van, you talking about, I know you talk about Van Hammer, Rick Joe. Please don't tell me you talk about Van Hammer, man. All right, the Coop says Backlund versus Snooker, 1981 steel cage match. Wow. I'll never forget that. I was watching that thing, man, on USA Network. I was in my mom's room upstairs. My mom wasn't there because my mom had that big screen TV, big floor model, huge. Watching that thing, I was in 8th grade, I think. Yeah, I was in 8th grade. 14 years old. Jimmy Snuka kept climbing that cage. And now, remember, all the matches used to be a 10-foot cage all the time. That was the first time I seen a 20-foot cage. Before Starcade, I think. And that Greg Hammer Valentine and Roddy Piper, I think it was in that cage where 20-foot. But that's the first time I think I seen the 20-foot cage, man. Jimmy Snuka went all the way up on top of that cage. Now, he could have won the match if he just would have jumped off if he would have dove off of the turnbuckle like he always did. He had Bob Backlund down, had him beat. Went up the cage. He went halfway up. I'm like, go ahead and dive now. Dive now. He didn't do it. He kept going up. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Then he dove off that cage, man. I thought he was going to die. I thought he was going to die, man, the way he was holding the stomach. And you know how muscular he was and how ripped he was in the stomach. I thought the man was going to die, man. I was like, oh, my gosh, he missed that. I was glad he missed because I wanted Backlund to win. I hated Jimmy Snuka I hated him as a bad guy. Hated him being a bad guy. Because I loved him and Paul Orndorff as World Tag Team Champions in Mid-Atlantic. When he was over in the Mid-Atlantic, he was in the NWA. Loved him as NWA World Tag Team Champions. Loved Jimmy Snuka. Really disappointed with him as a bad guy. But he became a bad guy before he went up there because he took on Ricky Steamboat. You know, I remember him, Ricky Steamboat had a feud and other things like that. I remember him feuding with Ric Flair. Ric Flair turned good for a while. So, but Jimmy Snuka, I hated him as a bad guy, man. I just thought, you make me sick. And so I was happy Bob Backlund won that match, but I felt bad for him, man. I thought he was going to die. I was like, wow, dude, wow. But he had it. He had to win. But no, he had to climb that doggone. He had to climb all the way up that cage. Whew, what a bad mistake, man. What a bad mistake. All right, guys, let me see. All right, Rick Joe, man, let me go and get all your get everything that you're saying here, man. Now, I got to get off this thing for real. It's 1:33. This has been fun. This has been fun. Let's see. Let's see. Let's get to some of these. Let's get to some of the stuff. All right. Rick Joe said Mick Foley. Yeah, Cactus Jack, man. He always be Cactus Jack to me. Mick Foley, Mankind, whatever they wanted to call him. He'll always be Cactus Jack to me, man. All right. I'm Harry. Laugh out loud. Foley versus Sting. Yes. All right. Rick and Scotty. Yep, Scott Steiner. Barbarian and Jake versus Rock and Roll Mid-South 1985. Oh my gosh, man, take it back. That was special. All right, Terry Taylor, man, love Terry Taylor from my hometown, man, right here from Greenville, South Carolina. Everybody used to say he was Ric Flair's brother, man, but I'm not sure. Hey, he was just like Ric Flair when he came in. All right, Rick Joe, Don Morocco, love Don Morocco. He got a podcast himself. Ted DiBiase, one of the best, most technical wrestlers when I first seen him back in the 70s, man, early 80s, one of the most technical wrestlers I ever seen. You know, Chris didn't know about all that. I said, man, one of the best wrestlers, man, technically I ever seen. And then he, went up to WWE, became the $1 Million Man. He became a puncher and a kicker. That's what there's my man, hey, you don't need to be doing all that. Just punch and kick. Harlem Heat. Yeah, Rick Joe, Harlem Heat. Harlem Heat, something, man. I heard they supposed to be coming back for a do an anniversary match or something like that. Ricky Williams, the great Muta versus Sting Starcade. Great matches, man, between Sting and Muta. You can never forget them. All right. Remember Power Hour and WCW Laugh Out Loud? Yes, I do. Definitely do. Yeah, cool. It's been fun chat, guys. We could go on forever. Yes, we could. Ricky Williams, Kevin Sullivan, Bray Dad, Laugh Out Loud. Oh, come on, man. Yeah. Ricky Williams, IRS. Always be Mike Rotundo to me, brother. Ricky, he will always be Mike Rotundo. It doesn't matter if you want to call him IRS, Michael Wall Street, or whatever. I did like the Michael Wall Street character, the same character when he went to became IRS, and but in WCW he was Michael Wall Street and had Alexandra York as his manager. Man, that was cool. Then we got Steven Regal and Dave Taylor. Yes, very, very good tag team. Tegan Knox and Sasha Banks. Yes, very, very good. Man, God, I hated DiBiase and Mid-South. His feud with JYD and Stagger Lee. Yeah, man, that was Buckhouse Buck. Yeah, man, wow. I had forgot about Buckhouse Buck. Remember him and Ron Fuller together? I hated Ted. Ricky Williams said, laugh out loud. But, man, like I said, this thing been great, man. And before you guys leave, man, definitely hit that like wherever you at. Like, share, join if you're on Facebook. Like, share, hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell, ding, ding, ding. If you're on YouTube, do the same thing on Twitch. And on Twitter, man, hit that like, share, tweet, and retweet. Guys, man, like you guys said, man, we can go on and on. Coop said we can go on and on. Man, Kurt Heenan, man, Kurt Hennig, one of the best. I hate, man, that gosh, I hate that he's not here with us. Kurt Hennig, one of the best all time. Queen Enterprises, Randy Orton. Tell me what you think about him. Brianna, love Randy Orton. Randy Orton is something. Randy Orton is just, whoo. Randy Orton is he's the shiznit, man. I hope he's able to come back. You know, doesn't retire. But Randy Orton, man, we need Randy Orton. Wrestling need Randy Orton. Definitely one of the greatest of all time, man. Definitely like him better than his dad, Bob Orton, who still, who wrestled about a month or two ago. He's still running around in that cast. This man done had a cast on since the 80s, since he collected that bounty on Ric Flair, him and Dirty Dick Slater. And he put that cast on. This was in the mid-80s. No, this was in the, what, 84? 80, yeah, 84, 83, 84, no, 83. When he collected, 83, 84, when he collected that, when Harley Race put that hit on Ric Flair. That is some funny stuff, man. It's been a long time. He still put that cast on. This guy's kind of funny, man. But yeah, Bob Orton is a trip, but Randy Orton, man, is something else. And Koloff, man, Nikita, Ivan, those Koloffs, man, something else. But yeah, Ivan Koloff, the best. Jimmy Garvin, yes, great wrestler, man, very flamboyant. Randy is a legend, Hall of Fame already. Queen Enterprises, who is your favorite wrestler of all time, Harry? Definitely Ric Flair. Definitely Ric Flair. Could have been Ricky Steamboat, but Ricky Steamboat, like I said, kind of changed me a little bit about Ricky Steamboat when he brought his wife out there. But yeah, Ric Flair is the greatest wrestler of all time. Definitely my favorite, and gave me so many memories. I can, but I only had to watch Ric Flair's matches for the rest of my life. I'll be happy. He wrestled everybody. Ric Flair wrestled everybody who is everybody in this business. Ricky Williams, crazy to think, Harry, Randy is a legend. Brock and Cena and Batista, when both was in OVW. Yes, definitely. Playtime Wrestling Federation, hello. Nothing beats old wrestling. No doubt about it, Playtime Wrestling Federation. Appreciate you joining us, man. And Playtime Wrestling Federation, I'm definitely going to subscribe. Hopefully you got a podcast too, man, or something like that, or whatever you're doing. We'll see what you're doing over there, man. But appreciate you joining, man. Hope you, like say, you done subscribed and everything like that. Ricky Williams, RVD, yes. Rob Van Dam, man. Ricky Williams, Sabu. You, man, legends all night long, man. We can talk about this stuff forever, guys. Talk about it forever. And, I'm coming back, man, with my top tag teams because it definitely need to be said and done. And coming back with coming back with Christopher Burton tomorrow night, man. Check us out. We will be breaking it down. We will be talking about SmackDown, but I'll be coming on tomorrow, probably early to do something. And then probably tomorrow after SmackDown, man, we're going to get into some more of this old school. So everybody that's here right now, man, definitely join in. Check it out tomorrow, man, because I'm going to go on, man. I'm going to talk about some old school stuff. And, stay tuned because this right here has got me pumped up, got me going, and probably bring on a couple more people. Appreciate it. Playtime Wrestling Federation. Definitely appreciate it. But, man, guys, you guys are great, man. Keep going, man. And like I said, everybody continue to watch wrestling. Continue to hope that Vince do the right thing. And for wrestling today, let Triple H continue to shine over there in WWE and bring us great wrestling. And Tony Khan, man, that he continues to get better at what he does. And, getting better at booking and everything. So, Chris Williams, I'm still here, Harry. You call my name, laugh out loud. I know, I said that, man. You on with us so much, it just, your name came across instead of my man Christopher Burton, the People's Podcaster. I said Chris Williams, man. And that's probably because, like I said, I saw your name earlier today. But, hey, I get like that sometimes. I get like that, man. Hey, I'm not a young cat no more, man. I'm in my mid-50s, so I get like that. But, hey, it's been good, man. And I like calling out your name anyway, Chris Williams. You one of our best supporters, man. And I like that. Yeah, I like Candyman too, Chris. Laugh out loud. And yeah, sometimes, guys, me and Chris get on here, and some of the other guys, man, and we'll talk about movies and things like that. So definitely, man, get on here. We'll talk about all kind of movies, but especially the black classic movies, man, the black exploitation films and things like that. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about other movies too, not just that. So, but man, sometimes we'll talk about, we'll throw that in. But everything, man, 98, 99% of the stuff, we just talk about wrestling, but we will get in there, man. We will trip out on certain things, man, certain phrases from movies and things like that we like. So it's great, man. It's just great. But yeah, you guys have been great tonight, man. And I tell you what, I got to get out of here. You guys stay straight up. See you guys later. Have a good night. Peace.